Hey, podcast pals. Today's episode is brought to you by my friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. Take it from me as a newly married guy with a very opinionated dog, comfort is kind of important right now. That's why I'm a Smart Club member of Standard Heating. I get to schedule service when it actually works for me, pay how I want, and choose what fits our home best. Pick the HVAC company that treats you like family, not just another name on the list. That's Standard. Check out standardheating.com and tell them Dana sent you.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show. 93.
It's time to get up. Wakey, wakey, eggs and bakey. It's time to get up! Wake up, bitch! Time to get
Dude. Somebody's about to get choke slammed.
That got me out of bed. I wish I could tell you more about that, but I probably shouldn't be this high at work. Jesus text that in this morning. Sent us a link to that, and I thought, what a wonderful way to start the day.
If I could just get somebody to turn down that acid rock.
Yeah, you don't like acid rock.
Who was that? Too stoned to be at work,
I
Jesus?
probably shouldn't be this high at work, Jesus.
Well, that was a shocking start to the program. It reminds me, though, of Josh. It reminds me of one of the greatest scenes in movie history. Bob! Bob! Cock-a-doodle-doo! What about Bob, Bill Murray, Richard Dreyfuss? I'm going to go ahead and say 1991. If anybody wants to look that up for me, see how close I am on that. What about Bob? Hilarious film.
Bob. Time to wake up. Come on, let's go. Come on, Bob. Get up. Bob. Come on, Bob. Bob, rise and shine. Come on. Bob. Come on, Bob, get up. Bob. 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 Get up. Come on. Come on, it's 6 o'clock. Rise and shine. Rise and shine. Hannah, go get the car right now. Come on, Bob. Come on. Bob. 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 Cock-a-doodle-doo! Bob. Bob. Oh.
Very frustrating.
91.
God, am I good or am I friggin' good?
You're good.
Thanks, Ashley. Richard Dreyfuss. He's still around, isn't he?
Yeah. Still doing his thing.
We welcome you to the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show. Come on in, sit down. Appreciate you being there for us. Look at it this way. This is your chance, and I just learned this a handful of minutes ago. Listeners, this is your chance to listen in on what has been named the third most depressing job in the year of 20 and 25.
Surprised it's not higher.
Uh-oh, you do sound depressed. When you said that, you sounded depressed.
There's always a little sadness behind Dana's delivery. A little bit of sadness. This has been named the most depressing job. I mean, not specifically this program, but arts, entertainment, sports, and media. Arts, entertainment, sports, and media has been named the third most depressing gig you could get your hands on these days. A new report surfaced on the sea of nonsense that is the internet, and it busted out the most depressing. The survey, Josh, asked nearly 500,000 people. I mean, that's a pretty good chunk of change right there.
That's a decent amount of folks.
500,000 people. This wasn't 2,500 people at a rodeo or something that were polled. This was 500,000 people. They were asked if their jobs are depressing. And we came in third.
On the podium.
Yeah.
I wouldn't describe it as depressing.
I could. If they're throwing in like newscasters, that's got to be depressing. A lot of depressing news they have to cover. They get quite a bit of heat for their appearance and the stories they cover, that kind of thing. That I could see how that would. I mean, look at Janel. She wants out of her job so bad. Janel joining us today later. She wants out of her job so bad at times You can understand she's called at a moment's notice to go to the most horrible things in the world and to confront these families who have some terrible things going on. They're miserable. And she's got to try and do that professionally and not look like she's about to jump off a bridge.
That's tough to fake.
Yeah.
Television news, you can understand their depression.
I guess, do you guys think that you'd be a little bit happier if you didn't have to, read the stuff that we read online?
Yes.
I think I would, a lot of the stuff that I read, I wouldn't have to read if it wasn't for this job. So I guess that's kind of a downer.
That's one thing I've mentioned before. It'd be nice just to tune out from that. I do my best, but you're right. You run across headlines, and there's probably 5 times a day I'm like, oh, for F's sake.
Right?
It's just terrible.
Yeah.
And like this, Local 34, Jesus, all the constant lies they make you tell on the news. Like that kind of criticism. And
It's tough to come up with the fake news each and every day.
I wish the government wasn't forcing us to lie to our listeners. That's one regret I have with this gig, that the government forces us to lie to our listeners. That does trouble me at times, but I get past it because of all the money.
Well, they threatened my kids.
They did.
Yeah, they threatened my kids.
Okay, so arts, entertainment, sports, and media. We're lumped into that group.
Medical Device Jesus said, didn't Randy Shaver cite the reading of today's news as the reason for him to retire? Yes.
He did. I can't say that has much of an effect on me because the focus of my show prep, I don't cross too many dark stories. Josh, you do, so I can understand how that would bring you down. But let me just be clear here, or maybe you can help me. Arts, entertainment, sports, and media. Sports, are they telling us that today's athletes are depressed?
Could be sports reporters and sports writers. That's kind of the way I interpreted it.
Okay, let's go along with that. Arts, does that mean your typical rock star isn't feeling so good about themselves these days?
Well, they do seem to be moody. How many stand-up comics have we met where they just really seem pretty hurt, They might put on a certain show. We've had a couple in here where once the mics went on, they were just outrageous and hilarious, but off air, they seem like they just heard the worst news they've ever heard.
Comics generally strike me as troubled people. They do. All right, so the most depressing jobs out there, 18 of them were listed. We'll go from 18 to one skis. Number 18, I don't see myself skipping to work if I were a miner.
How is that not higher?
Yeah, what? Heck no.
Mining.
Nope.
Coming home each day just sore and covered in soot.
Yeah, you got health problems because of it. Nothing. No thanks.
Those are the stories that we hear, right? That you're not generally a very healthy person by inhaling the underground on a daily basis. Mining. Jesus, I wouldn't last a half hour before they were... It would be friendly fire, Josh. It would be friendly fire. If I became a miner, they would put up with me for about 30 minutes before they would toss me up out of the hole and I'd land back on the surface of planet Earth. You're way too soft for this gig, dude. The construction crowd isn't exactly pumped. They're on the list of depressing jobs. Hard work. Out in the cold, out in the hot. I'm not saying for sure these are the factors. I'm just trying to relate to what would bring me down.
Yep.
Another job I would never be hired for. I don't have the skill set for that. But they're on the list. Everyone's on the list, basically. There's a lot of jobs on this list.
Night shift nurse Jesus said, being a nurse, wiping asses, getting hit, dealing with meth heads, having 6+ patients at the time. Yeah, I can understand.
Okay, healthcare came in 5th. I can't imagine how this gig would be more difficult. I guess that's not the subject. It isn't difficult. It's depression. So I don't know how to measure this. I'm just saying I can't imagine how healthcare, working as a nurse or a doctor and all of what that listener just described, Can't imagine how that's not higher than what we do or what a artist does or a television.
Well, I think if you have a job where 90% of the time you're running into someone on the worst day of their life, that has to be incredibly depressing.
Yeah, so how is that not higher than what we do on the list of depressing gigs? Okay, agriculture, farming.
I thought
That can be
farmers
tough.
loved their gigs. Certainly a tough job, but talking about like depression,
Right.
I guess you can have depressing years.
Sure.
Yeah, I guess
Sure.
if you got a bad harvest or something. But yeah, I always thought farmers really loved it.
Yeah. Manufacturing, real estate.
I bet that could be stressful.
Yeah, I mean, any job can be stressful and any job can be tough. But I'm trying to figure out with some of them what makes it depressing, because that's what 500,000 Americans were asked about. Are you depressed? Or does your job make you depressed? Real estate.
I think that having to hold your arms out, like stretched to the side each and every day, that has to get depressing and very difficult at times.
I guess some of the realtors I know seem on the sad side.
Really?
Yeah.
A lot of weekend showings and open houses and stuff.
Yeah, and a lot of them, I think you kind of get, I guess a lot of people go off like how the housing market is doing when thinking about like how the economy is doing as a whole. So like if you're exposed to that like constantly about how like nobody has been buying houses, no one has been able to get a home, that can be depressing.
Here's a cop that says, "Police, enough said. Everyone hates us." Yeah.
Yep. Feel bad for
I'm
them.
all right with you. I'm all right.
Yeah,
with you.
we are here as well. I mean,
right.
I can't imagine how difficult of a job that is.
By the way, a listener texted in to say that not all miners work underground. I work in an open pit mine, and it's not so bad. So it's tough to measure, so many jobs are on this list. It's tough to fully understand what it is about these gigs specifically that is bringing folks down. I'm trying to figure it out on the fly. Real estate, sure, stressful job, but every damn one of us has a certain amount of stress in our jobs.
I think every job is a job, right?
Yeah. Public administration, does that mean like politics? Public administration, I don't know what that means.
I'm not sure.
Fair enough. Finance and insurance.
That just sounds so boring.
I always thought that seemed kind of fun.
Really?
But I guess that says a lot about me.
We're up to the top 10 most depressing jobs, according to a survey. The most depressing jobs in 20 and 25. Sales at number 9. I could never do sales. I was just talking to somebody about this. Was that you, Ashley? Who the hell was I talking
Maybe.
to? I could never do sales.
I could do it if I loved what it was. I don't think I'd be able to do it if I just didn't care about it.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
If I'm selling like paper clips or something.
Good call. That's a good call. If it was something I truly love, now I got to find something that I love.
Like if I were working at like a Guitar Center or a Best Buy or like stuff I would easily spend every dime I made on, I could sell that, I think.
My fiance's in sales and he absolutely loves it. He doesn't seem depressed.
Or things that have made a huge difference in my life, certainly.
I had a brief run in sales for 87 days, and believe it or not, I was not very passionate about selling car insurance, rental car insurance to people. It wasn't in my blood.
Oh, come on.
Well,
that sounds like a riot.
Yeah.
Just trying to scare people into getting insurance they don't need.
Based on texts we're receiving, I had it all wrong about farmers. People are saying that they have high depression rates, and I guess it's a well-known thing. I'd never heard that.
I had never heard that myself.
I read something that the margins are so slim these days, when it comes to making your harvest and making the crops make money.
Yeah, maybe it's something where it's just real corporate now, or I'm not sure. Okay, well, thank you for the info. I had no idea.
The 8th most depressing job in the United States of America is education. Well, yeah, Dana's wife's so depressed she can't even get a job this summer. 7, legal work. Being a lawyer or a public pretender or a whatever the hell, judge, I don't know. 6, retail workers. 5, we covered already, is healthcare. 4, food services. 3 is what we're doing here, which would fall under the canopy of arts, entertainment, sports, and media. 2, food preparation and serving. Welcome to Hardee's. How can I help you? And then the jackass on the other side of the counter has a meltdown because you put too much mustard on his ham sandwich.
Yeah.
Of
I
course
did that at a few places, and I wouldn't want to do that again. definitely
What did you
not.
do?
As a
Oh, you were cutting
I
up
worked at a few
vegetables.
different restaurants. Yeah, and I couldn't imagine going back to that.
You were cutting up veggies at the Good Earth.
Yeah, it was one of the places.
But
God
did you ever
bless those folks.
ring folks up at the counter like at a fast food joint?
Yes.
Oh, you did?
Not a fast food restaurant, but it was like a I don't know how to describe it. It was like in an office building. There's a big office building, and so we essentially were just lunch. It was like a third job I had, and it was just lunch. That was their only hours they were open, and it was very depressing. And the people I worked with were very depressed all the time and very mean. That job really sucked.
They hated their jobs, and they took it out on
Sounds
you.
awful.
So the office dork would walk up, and you'd say, "Hello, what can I get you?" And he'd say, "Well, I'll take a bologna and cheese."
Pretty much, yeah. Tuna fish sandwich. It was always kind of the same stuff.
Ashley, you worked in fast food. Apparently, the
I
most
loved it, though.
you loved fast. Well, you stayed high.
Yeah.
Yeah, you stayed
Exactly.
high the entire.
100%.
The most depressing job available is community and social services. What does that mean? Cop? Community
I
and social.
imagine, yeah.
Cops and paramedics and firemen and the Red Cross and.
Yeah. Aren't
I don't know,
EMTs?
right.
Yeah, I think.
That would be community and social
I
services.
think you're onto something. EMTs have one of the highest suicide rates. I know that.
Oof.
Theirs is like it's like through the roof.
I don't need to hear about
That's depressing. Short but fat, Jesus. Being a stay-at-home mom. Very stressful. Cooking, cleaning all day.
You're
And then
not really alone, but you are alone.
Yeah.
You're lonely.
You're always at work, quote unquote.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, I could see how that would be a little.
You're just craving some type of adult interaction.
Yeah.
Like, can we just talk about current events? I don't care. Anything other than, what's
The
on their
Teletubbies.
iPads right now.
But if you got kids, you're not having a lot of adult conversations.
Yeah.
I get all that, but you are at home.
Well, you said you like to leave the house for social interaction at a Target.
I do.
So, I mean, you can understand
But if my
that.
job was at home, I'm at home. But sometimes I don't know what I'm talking about. So there you go.
Chaos coordinator, Jesus. Healthcare, you see a lot of bad with very little good. That's kind of what I was mentioning. Like, I can't imagine seeing so many people so miserable every single day.
I briefly dated an ER nurse a couple of years ago, and you could just see the stress on her face just pouring out constantly. 12-hour shifts, 4 days a week, working like midnight or noon to midnight. Oh, I felt awful for her.
Did you make sure you told her that you could see the stress on her face, Dana?
I did not, but
I could just tell you're tired.
Well, she was open about it. She was just,
That'd be
explaining how
hilarious.
exhausting things are these days, especially
I
because, you're trying to help people, but they're not allowing you to help them because they're pushing back, and it's just a nightmare.
They say the cake gigs out there are the following: dog walker, rideshare driver, house/pet sitter, mystery shopper. Mystery shopper.
I got a buddy who does that on the side.
What is mystery shopper?
did that for a little bit.
You shop for somebody else?
No, you go in and you kind of basically do a review of how the employees did at the store. Were they helpful? Did they ask if you knew what you were looking for? That type of thing. You basically rate the employees.
Really? You did that, Josh?
It wasn't my main job, but when I worked for Target, I did that a few times where they just asked people, hey, go check this out and just see how it goes over there, that kind of thing.
You were undercover.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, you just go and, browse around like you're shopping.
So you would go to a different Target where they didn't know you.
Yeah. And it was more like for
cool.
safety things.
Really?
Right? Making sure that if there's a wet floor, there's a wet floor sign, or just, kind of silly things like that.
I'm jealous. I've always wanted to do that.
You would walk into a different Target like you were just some average schmo and not a member of Target security.
The elite, yeah.
The elite, you had a different way to say
Well, I
it.
was on the force. I towed that thin red and khaki line, as we did.
And they didn't know you were snooping on them and then going back and reporting, hey, the fellas back in electronics smelled like farts and didn't ask me if I needed any help.
Yeah, and it wasn't, I know there's people that go more detailed. Ours wasn't necessarily really to rat on people. It was more just if you see something like, hey, here's some things that could maybe be improved. It didn't feel as douchey as some of the stuff you're mentioning.
I got mystery shopped at Blockbuster, and it was intense. Like, you had to do every single thing right, including saying at the end of the transaction, thanks for making it a Blockbuster night. And if you didn't say those things, you could get dinged by a mystery shopper.
Oh, for Christ's sake.
Really?
Yeah. They were very nitpicky about it. And the business is thriving today, so it clearly worked.
I can't imagine going home and just being in a bad mood, and my wife asks what's wrong. I'm like, well, I called Tires Plus, and the guy didn't say it's a great day at Tires Plus when he answered.
People are out of their friggin' minds.
It ruined my experience. I'm never buying tires from them again.
Well, sorry to everybody out there who might be depressed with their current occupation. I'd love to be able to instantly find the words to make you feel better. We certainly know the ups and downs around here. I feel like as a man beyond middle age, I should be able to maybe dump some words of wisdom on you, but it's nothing that's going to sound wildly original. How about this? We're all effed in one way or another. We're all, no matter what the hell you do for a living, we're all effed in one way or another. We're all underpaid. We're probably all not treated as well as we should be.
Everybody's got something.
Everybody's got something. So just find the joys, find the little things that you love, and focus on those things.
Yeah, hopefully there's one or two things that keep bringing you back, aside just from having a paycheck.
Right.
Your coworkers and your boss can make such a big difference, I've noticed. Even if the job sucks and maybe you're not appreciated by the folks that should appreciate you. If you got some good coworkers and a good boss, that could keep me going.
That goes a long way. You're right. Focus on the one or two things that do bring you back. And look at it this way. Soon enough, we're all going to be retired and dead.
Yeah,
so
and you know what? For some of us, it'll be finally you get to retire your golden years. And for some of us, it'll be a very short amount of time between retirement and death.
That's true. Let her buck. Try and have some fun. Try and wade your way through the garbage and have some fun. You were talking about your little undercover Target gig there, Josh, where you as a Target employee would walk into Targets around town and just kind of snoop and see how the customer service was and see how this
I never did customer service. Like I said, mine was more like safety stuff. And it was only a handful of times I did it. It was never an official position.
Is the light going to fall on the head, and is the AC, the safety, is the floor wet? It reminds me of a friend of mine got busted for, I'll get there. A friend of mine got busted for contributing to minors when he was working at a liquor store. And you guys have heard of this setup before. The cops set this up, and they wait for the liquor store to be busier than hell, like 6 p.m. on a Friday, right?
Yeah.
And my buddy's ringing up cases of beer and bottles of hooch. He's just pouring sweat, running the register. And then they throw some gal into line who is younger. And, my pal's behind the counter. He was in such a hurry. No, he did not card everybody. He did not. And he did not card this younger-looking female. And that's when the cop jumps in and says, "Step away from the register, sir. You've just sold beer to a 17-year-old gal."
That sucks.
And my buddy said, "Does she look 17? And the cop, he said, even admitted it after a while. The cop was like, "Yeah, sorry about this." But it's something that cop had to do that day. He was assigned to pull that gimmick to try and curb alcohol sales to minors. So my buddy ends up saying, "Come on, she doesn't look younger than 21. And the cop's like, "Yeah, I know. It's just, sorry, you have to step away from the red." And my buddy also said, "You had to wait till there was 75 people in line to pull this up." And the cop said, "Yeah, I know. Sorry." I always thought that gimmick was kind of shady. But it's out there.
Yeah, we had those when I worked in the restaurant industry. People that would come in, and it was terrifying, but we usually could figure it out.
The gal, was like hired by the cops, I guess, too. I don't know the whole story.
I can't remember who hires them, but yeah, word usually gets around.
And I think the gal even said to my buddy, like, "Yeah, sorry."
Because usually if they hit like one spot in the neighborhood, it's like that time of the year or something like that or whatever it is. And so they'll hit like a couple other places. And so, yeah, word usually gets around. So, at least when I worked in the restaurant industry, so that to be on the lookout for someone that comes in alone.
I bet businesses do that themselves, like a gas station or something to make sure no one's selling cigarettes or something to minors, just because how screwed they get. I mean, there was a gas station by me where they couldn't sell cigarettes for, it was almost a year or something crazy like that.
Yep.
Because they got busted a couple of times.
Hell, I just found out recently that, didn't I just find this out? I know I learned it on air. You can't buy a can of chew unless you're 21?
Yeah, you just learned the tobacco laws. Yeah.
I didn't know that. This is just recently. What? 21? You got to be 21 to buy a can of chew? Josh, you could have played that undercover role with your youthful appearance. You could have played. You could have been that character that.
Maybe into my early 20s.
You could have been that guy.
I remember in my early 20s wishing I looked older. I just was kind of embarrassed that, people thought I was younger than I was.
You always wanted to look older.
Yeah, I wanted to look older, so I wouldn't get that all. I don't know why that embarrassed me, but.
Well, it's not embarrassing anymore.
No, I'd change it now. Yeah.
Now you want to look younger?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind looking younger.
Well, you still look young.
Well, it's nice. You just
Can't. Here's a guy you can't make him happy.
No, not at all.
You know what I mean? He wants to look older, and then when he does, he wants to look younger.
Grass is always greener, as they say.
Yep.
Janel Klein will be swinging by a little bit later on this morning. And we'll talk to Randy Shaver, of course. So we appreciate you being there on this magical Tuesday. We'll take a break and come right back on the 93X Half-Ass Morning Show.
Right now on the Luther Bloomington Kia text line, text the word BOAT, B-O-A-T, to 651-989-9393 for a chance to win a 4-pack of tickets to the 93X Hams Booze Cruise on Friday, June 27th on Stillwater Riverboats. Prize provided by Warner's Dock and Red Wing Shoes. The only way aboard is to listen and win. Head to 93x.com for more info. This contest keyword is good through Friday, June 13th at 11:59 p.m.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Hey, podcast pals. Today's episode is brought to you by my friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. Take it from me as a newly married guy with a very opinionated dog. Comfort is kind of important right now. That's why I'm a Smart Club member of Standard Heating. I get to schedule service when it actually works for me, pay how I want, and choose what fits our home best. Pick the HVAC company that treats you like family, not just another name on the list. That's Standard. Check out standardheating.com and tell them Dana sent you.
This episode brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game? Shifting a little money here, a little there, and hoping it all works out? Well, with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can get a better budgeter and potentially lower your insurance bill too. You tell Progressive what you want to pay for car insurance, and they'll help find you options within your budget. Try it today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
Bravo TV star Lala Kent holds nothing back.
I think the boundaries are getting a little unboundaried, but that's fine.
From relationships,
it's grabbing coffee with your friends. That is
right up my alley.
Right?
To business and beyond.
Where there's history, true friendships, but it's fine. I've also been a rat. I'm obsessed with her. I hate her. Literally the exact same feeling.
If you really want to party,
you have to have the perfect combination.
Give them Lala. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Stupid news on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
Yeah, I was telling a story. I was telling a story a few minutes ago about a pal of mine working at a liquor store. He got busted selling hooch to a minor. It was one of those gimmicks where the cops sent a plant or a narc. I'm not sure what the word is. The cops sent a character in there into the liquor store. My pal was working at the counter. He's ringing up folks left and right. It was a busy night. So the cops sent in this gal who looked younger. And my pal was so overwhelmed ringing up cases of beer. He didn't card quite a few people. But when he skipped carding this gal who was a plant, the cops pounced on him and he was busted. The fancy schmancy term for this setup I learned via a couple of listeners who texted in. Alcohol compliance. I'm forgetting which listener it was that texted me this, but this is a cute story. When this listener was 19 or 20 years old, they got involved in an alcohol compliance bit. He was sent into a bar by the police, and he says, I was a skinny little nerdy guy, and they paired me up with this 18-year-old smoke show female. And the gimmick was the two of them would go sit at the bar and pretend they were dating and try to order a drink and see if the bartender carded them. Well, our listener says, at one point or another, I leaned over to the cop and I said, there's no way they're going to believe that we're dating.
I respect that self-awareness.
Yeah, I'd feel the same way probably.
Me and this hot chick, we're supposed to be dating? This isn't believable. Look at me.
What kind of acting skills do you think I have?
Was the word you were thinking of a sting?
Well, the entire operation is, sure, sting.
Gosh, it's going to bother me that I can't think of that exact word that's in my head.
Sting is a good name for the total operation. What I was trying to come up with was the name of the character that's playing the role. Is it a narc? Is it a plant?
Both sound good to me.
Yeah, well, we'll go with it. All right. I can't understand how there are still dildos out there effing dumb enough to play this game. You just simply must be beyond brain dead. A numbskull out of Detroit. He missed his airplane ride from Detroit to Los Angeles. He did. But he got an idea. As quick as he could, he called in a fake bomb threat to the airport there in Detroit, hoping that his threat might delay the airplane long enough for him to get there and board the plane. Can't believe it's still almost weekly. Maybe even more frequently than that if you count schools and... If you count schools, airports, where else does this happen? Once in a while at a concert, once in a while at a mall, at a library, the fake bomb threat.
How do you think you're going to be the one person that gets away with it?
And this character is a 23-year-old. So come on, he knows how serious this crime is. 23-year-olds are always on social media. This kid must have heard that this bit never works. He must have heard that FBI agents will be kicking in your door within minutes, and you'll be deep-throating the butt end of a shotgun before you can say Jack Robinson. But he went ahead and made his fake bomb threat anyway, and his telephone call did cause a panic at the airport. Passengers on the airplane were removed. The ones who were already seated were removed, and then they were pulled aside and interviewed by the FBI to see if any of them had anything to do with the fake bomb threat. And the flight didn't take off until 6 hours later.
What a pain.
I'm sure, Josh, that didn't anger anyone aboard the flight, did it?
Oh, I'm sure. After being terrified, then they're furious.
And then they're being questioned by the FBI. So what do you know about this? What do I know about it? I was buckled in 20 minutes ago, ready to go to friggin' L.A. So stupid ass was arrested when he came to the airport the next day for a different flight to Los Angeles. They knew who he was right away. I kind of hope the feds at least gave him like a little mini beating, just a hard clothesline, a little taste. Maybe they swept the leg.
I'm sure he's going to get the book thrown at him, for sure.
Yeah, sure as hell. The kid told the feds, I made the telephone call with the hope that it would delay the flight long enough so I could make it in time so I wouldn't have to take a different flight. Throw the book at them, you say? I hope so, Josh.
I'm sure they will.
And I think you need to teach these dumbasses a real lesson. Shack them up with the hardcore scumbags for just a week. You know what I'm saying? A scared straight type of a gimmick. Because I bet if he had to go ahead and toss a salad in lockup after dark, he's not going to be playing bomb threat games on the telephone ever again.
Well, what do you mean? He's going to get a job in the cafeteria at the prison? Tossing salads?
Offended millennial Jesus. Yes, I do remember this. He said, remember the misunderstood bomb threat at a Home Depot bathroom? Right.
I do.
That was out of Kansas, if I remember right. And the dude, said, hey, you better get out of here. I'm about to blow this place up or something to that effect. And they thought he was legitimately making a bomb threat.
That's something.
I think about that now. Like if I was going to say something like that or who blew this up or whatever, I'll change my wording just because of stories like that.
Ashley, I got it. You and I can rest easy this afternoon. The name for that plant or that narc who's going to play a character sort of undercover for the cops at a bar or a liquor store, a decoy.
No, it's not.
That's what I'm going with.
Eastbound at Sundown, Jesus said the term is flatliner. Don't be a flatliner.
Don't be a flatliner. Rule number 1, Josh laid the laws down years ago. Don't be a flatliner.
I was working on a Saturday.
Yep.
Don't be a flatliner.
I mean, sure. Thank you. Some of you texted in informant, but there was a small. That's it. Decoy. We're staying in Michigan now, and we're going down a route that's almost as dumb as making a bomb threat to an airport. A reported. I almost said it, but I always have to pause just because I can't believe. A reported Bigfoot sighting. Why here in America can't we let go of this effing fairy tale? I don't understand.
Yeah, there's whole conventions and everything about this.
Wonder what the percentage of folks that believe it or just think it's kind of a fun time.
They just want a T-shirt and a hat. Yeah, I don't. Good question.
I mean, I'd go to a Bigfoot convention if it was all around, monster trucks. Something like that'd be kind of fun. Something like this, though. Well, you know what? I would be interested in going to something like this and just seeing what kind of folks are running around. What kind of pageantry they have for this.
Chicks everywhere.
Bigfoot. Oh, heck yeah.
A reported Bigfoot sighting. You know, I'm going to go ahead anyway. I have to. I don't want to. But I'm going to do it for you guys. This reported latest stupid Bigfoot sighting took place near a town called Monroe, Michigan, a few weeks ago. So here's the nonsense, just for fun. A 47-year-old guy who was referred to in the story as going by the name of Edward. He was a bow fishing with his 12-year-old son when they heard rustling in a tree. They did. Followed by a huge thud. And Edward said a big, heavy animal had hit the ground and crouched in front of Edward and his kid. At first, he assumed it to be his oversized wife. But then he got a closer look when the creature started to move towards him. It was not his wife. Edward's dog then chased after the mystery animal. The dog chased the creature up a slope, and Ed called the dog off. Edward and his son told internet Bigfoot research dorks that the creature appeared to be a large primate about 6 foot tall with dark fur. They said it appeared to run on 2 legs in a hunched position. The 12-year-old kid said it was as big as my mom or a bear. But it looked like a gorilla. Neither of them got a picture because they say it happened so suddenly.
Huh, all right.
That's usually how it goes. Or it's blurry
right.
For whatever reason. Box Tossing Jesus said they have a super creepy guy at their work who is really into Bigfoot, listens to Bigfoot podcasts all day, and has gotten into arguments with other coworkers over Bigfoot. I'd love to be a fly on the wall there and hear some of those arguments.
Sounds exhausting.
News of this latest Bigfoot sighting has spread throughout the area. Well, of course it did. It's Monroe, Michigan. On a cute side note now, a local cannabis dispensary is offering a discount for anyone who brings photographic proof of Bigfoot.
That's fun.
Unique Cannabis is the name of the joint. They've posted a sign out front the store that says, "Bring photo proof of Bigfoot for a free pre-roll," whatever that means. What does it mean to get
joint.
a big fat, like a big fat one, like the Godfather used to smoke?
They can be whatever size.
Josh used to roll them, big fat bastards.
Oh, yeah.
We were talking about jobs earlier. Remember that Snoop Dogg has a joint roller who makes, I think it was $50,000 a year, something like that?
Yeah, I think Seth Rogen has one, too.
Does he really?
I'm not too sure about that, though.
I bet you the Godfather still rolls his own. But anyway, this is not the first ridiculous Bigfoot nonsense that's come out of Monroe, Michigan. Stories of a Monroe monster have existed in that area since the 1960s.
Somebody said, the text disappeared. Reamer, Minnesota has a Sasquatch convention.
Yeah.
Here goes. Strong forearm Jesus.
Yeah, we brought that up a handful of months, maybe a year or so ago. We talked about Reamer and their whole setup there. Well, this would be embarrassing on both sides of the situation. A family out there. Oh, hang on a second. I got to make myself a note. A family out there in the Hollywood Hills neighborhood of California is suing a cemetery after finding out that the headstone propped up over what they thought was the body of their dead mother, that headstone was accidentally placed over an empty hole in the ground. Their mom isn't down there. She's been taking a dirt nap all this time in a different spot. Do you follow the words that are coming on? Mom isn't down there. She's somewhere else in the cemetery. But for 4 years now, there's been a headstone there that says Mom. And they gather there.
Because we have been speaking to an empty space. And all those times we put flowers, we prayed, we came for holidays, we even put, Christmas tree decorated. It was the wrong space.
God, that would suck.
Yeah.
It feels so dumb.
That's a member of the Demirkian family.
And I imagine if there was ever a time where they're all there and something happened, like a breeze came through and they're like, oh, there she is right there. There's
That's
Mom.
Mom.
No, it's not Mom at all.
No, she's nowhere
Mom's
near you.
10 miles away.
She's pissed because you guys won't go visit her.
Yeah.
The Demirkians over there in the Hollywood Hills, they say they had no idea. They were mourning over an empty hole. They found out when the old man checked out recently. So, of course, they wanted to bury the old man next to his wife. And that's apparently when a mortician pulled a family member aside and said, yeah, your mom's actually way over there. She's not there. So, sorry. You heard the audio where he said for years they've been showing up there, tossing around flowers and saying prayers and singing Christmas songs. The cemetery has since straightened things out. They have the two dead parents laid out next to each other. But the Demirkians are still filing a lawsuit claiming emotional distress from grieving at the wrong gravesite for years. They're seeking an undisclosed amount of money. They said their main motivation is to prevent something similar happening to another family.
Well, yeah, that's good at least, I guess.
Sure.
Yeah, that would be helpful. I don't think that's their main reason, but.
You don't? You think this is more cash-based?
Oh, yeah. Why not?
It's kind of weird because the loved ones I visit, we saw them buried. So unless somebody came in later and moved them.
Yes.
We saw the whole thing.
Yeah, I don't know. You're right. Usually you're standing there when they're dropped into the hole.
Yeah.
You remember that spot, but maybe they were busy that day. Yeah, here's a text right here. Weren't they at the funeral? I don't know. But it all reminds me of one of my favorite jokes, and I'm going to tell it again. I know you've heard it before, but I got to tell it. I can't. Guy's walking around a cemetery, and in the distance, he sees another man, and that man is on his knees in front of a headstone, bawling uncontrollably like a child. The second man is just on his knees, and he's crying. Why? Why did you have to die? Oh, God, no, why? Why? And the first man walks up to that second man, and the first man puts his hand on his shoulder, and he says, "Is that your wife?" And the second man says, "No! It's my wife's first husband! Why?" It takes a lot out of you, Cubby.
What's a lot of screaming?
Yeah. But I think it helps the joke.
I think you need that for the joke. You could feel his pain.
Oh, God, without a doubt you could. Some people do strange things when they are in love. Like this gal here. I mean, if you really dig somebody, you could just immediately ask them out. Or offer them sex. But not everybody's built for that. Okay? Some can be aggressive, others they're not wired for that. This here Brazilian lady, all I can say is this is one way to go about letting someone know that you want into their pants, okay? She was in love with the local undertaker in her neighborhood. So she spent 2 years attending funerals in hopes...
No.
In hopes of catching the guy's eye.
No.
Oh, you sure know a lot of people.
Yeah, he's not just going to get worried about the fact that everyone around you is dying constantly.
Well, you know, that's the thing. It's not as if every funeral she went to, she talked to him. She kind of just stayed off into the distance, hoping he would notice her.
That's freaky.
And also, they say it's a small town. Everyone knows everyone. So it's not ridiculous to think that you would go to all of these funerals because everyone knows. Anyway, Daniela is her name. She had a serious case of the thigh sweats for the undertaker, a feller called Apollo. She first laid eyes on Apollo early in the year of 20 and 23 while attending a funeral for a dead relative. She wanted him to fire her down right then and there. She liked the vibe that this Apollo guy was putting out. But she didn't have it in her just to walk up and say hello and introduce. So she went to every funeral she could for the next 2 years. He's actually also the funeral director. So he wouldn't notice her all the time. He's focused on his job, right?
I think he'd notice her. She's pretty attractive.
Oh.
He must have noticed her.
Oh.
She's no wallflower.
Says here, though, you know, sometimes he did have the day off. So she'd get all dressed up and go to this funeral and go, "Oh, Christ, Apollo's not even here."
I wasted my good makeup on this.
So it took a while, but eventually it worked. Daniela caught Apollo's eye at one point after multiple funerals where she acted like she cared about the dead person, but she was strictly there thinking of her own needs. They dated. There was oral. And after a while, the two of them got married.
Beautiful.
Because of the oral, I'd imagine.
That can be a deciding factor.
Do you think anybody would get the joke if the Undertaker walked down the aisle super, super slow? It's just crazy long.
I would get the joke.
Yeah, there'd be at least one person that would get it.
They did arrive for their wedding, Josh, in a hearse, and everyone laughed and laughed.
I like that.
You do?
Yep.
And hopefully they'll live happily ever after. If I were Apollo, I'd be a little worried.
Yeah, I could see this ending, depending on the people, ending in criminal charges in some way.
For 2 years, you watched me work?
Like if I told you...
It's not romantic. It's weird.
Yeah, it is. Like if I told you there's a girl I'm really attracted to and I've been showing up, she's an undertaker, and I've been showing up at all these funerals in hopes that we fall in love. Wouldn't you... We used the word narc earlier. Wouldn't you call somebody just out of concern?
I would call your mother.
I don't think it would work the other way around if I was going to try that on a woman.
She stalked him. Was I right when I said 2 years?
2 years,
Yep.
yeah.
She stalked him for 2 years by watching him work before they finally... So she's a babe, huh?
I think she's very attractive, yeah.
Hot girls don't need to be acting like that.
She has a bit of a Anna Nicole Smith vibe.
No way.
Could you show me a picture?
Sure.
You're right, Ashley. Hot people don't usually have to do that.
No.
You just walk up and say, you wanna?
Just exist.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, she's got no business doing that.
Yeah, she's very pretty.
Yeah.
That, honestly, you just freaked me out a little bit, Josh, because that looks almost identical to somebody I used to hang out with when I lived in Wisconsin. I was like, hold up. She's a little weird, so I can see her doing that.
I'm sure she's from Wisconsin.
She appreciates that.
She's very pretty. But you're right. If a guy did that, he'd be on the front page of the papers.
Yep, I would be terrified.
Psychomaniac stalks woman for 2 years and then marries her. He's been arrested.
Yeah, no thank you.
And
Stay
they
away.
then they usually find out that the guy planned on killing her and eating her or something like that. But
women are much more aware, though. Like, I think if it was a woman in that situation that was being kind of just watched, they would figure it out.
You would notice a man who came to your work.
I'd be like, is this the fourth time he's been... What's going on?
I think you're right. I think most gals would notice, like, okay, what the hell is this dude doing here again? I'm trying to work.
We keep making awkward eye contact.
All right. If you think that Ozempic diabetes/weight loss drug is popular now, you wait till the fellas hear about this.
Oh, is there another one? Gosh.
There's another benefit coming.
I honestly am so sick of this stuff.
What do you mean?
This is something that's just... I just had to listen to people have like a 2-hour conversation about like Ozempic and all the weight loss drugs. I think this is something that's just... It comes up so much in conversations. I'm sick of hearing about it.
I haven't in personal conversations, but you're right. You read a lot about it for sure.
Ozempic. I got that right, didn't I? It's for diabetes, but a lot of folks have been eating Ozempic to help them lose weight.
Correct.
Okay. Get ready, boys.
Except for the eating part. You nailed it.
You don't eat
No, you don't
Ozempic?
I mean, you could try it.
What do you do?
You shoot it up.
It's a needle?
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of people do it with their stomach.
Yeah, I was about to ask do you got to go with the butt or do you go with the tummy?
I know somebody that does it, and he said you can either do the stomach or the thigh.
I'll see you at the pharmacy because it says here, according to a recent Reddit thread, dudes who use the Ozempic are claiming that the weight loss diabetes dope is making their rods hang deeper than ever before.
I mean, they say if you lose weight, it looks bigger.
And that's what one doctor is basically saying?
That would be my guess, but if it really does, I mean, you're right. It's going to be tougher to get than it is now.
We'll get there to what the doctors are saying about this. But one Ozempic user dude said on social media, I recently measured myself and a few others from our softball team, and I noticed that I gained about 1 inch. He didn't say anything more about the other boys on the ball club, but he said he's gained an inch. That's a lot.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's a pretty big improvement.
Now I really regret not buying some of that shady over-the-counter Ozempic when I was down in Mexico.
I wish you would have.
I could have brought that back and made a haul.
I'd have a 30% increase.
It says here there hasn't been enough research done on this, so don't be robbing the diabetics in your neighborhood just yet.
Oh, there's already guys shooting themselves right in the dong with it.
But it does say here that the average pecker size is continuing to go up and up. Right now, I bet we have at least one female listener who had a great weekend last weekend, and she just squirmed in her seat, and she said, don't I know it? Amen to that, brother, she said. Pecker size. The average dong size, Josh, is expanding out of control, they say. And some experts think Ozempic might actually have something to do with it. But others are saying different. One doctor who comes from awful Birmingham, England, had this to say. He said, a man's rod shortens as he gets older. Ain't that about a bit?
I've noticed that. Everything on me is shrinking.
I wonder what your peak dong year is then.
Oh.
Or if it varies from person to person.
For me, I'm going to guess 30.
Yeah?
I think I peaked at 30.
When you got into the dirty 30s. This doctor says, as we dudes get older and fatter, our peckers dial backwards until the poor thing looks like a button on a fur coat. He says our prostate gets larger, and it yanks what used to be our big, beautiful hanging dongs back into our bodies, making us look terrible at the beach. Just awful. Isn't that what the hell? As we get older, that's not fair. As we get older, we should get more, we should gain more.
Well, yeah, because everything else sinks.
So you can be happy on your way out.
My testicles look very manly. They sink. They're getting larger, it seems. But yeah, the penis shrinks. But I guess, the older you get, the more I've noticed I don't care. Whereas a younger man, I would have cared.
It's only.
But at least as a younger man, you can go, well, it's going to get bigger. There's a positive. So I guess teach their own. This is North Star Woodworks Jesus. 30 pounds equals 1 inch gained. Ask me how I know, he says. All right, how do you know?
I think it's a cruel trick that our dongs go backwards as we get older. I mean, come on. Let us go out happy, but that's how it works. Our prostate is to blame. It pulls what used to be all that cargo. It pulls it back into our body. So there's another doctor who repeated what Josh said a couple of minutes ago. Everyone needs to stop getting so excited. This doctor says Ozempic isn't making anyone more hung. It's just as you lose weight, your stupid pee-pee appears to be larger. And
I'd imagine that's exactly what it is.
Yes, has to be.
But, again, there are doctors going back and forth on this.
I do worry about, it seems too good to be true, doesn't it? How this Ozempic works.
It does everything.
Yes.
Like it's a magic shot for everything.
I've heard some downsides lately, though, that are coming out.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you start using, you lose the weight, you got to keep using it, otherwise that weight's just going to pile right back on.
So.
I just couldn't. Could you guys stab yourself with a needle?
Yes.
I couldn't do it.
I don't know. I've never tried it.
I don't think I could, especially in my stomach. Not my poor little soft tummy.
Oh, no. I'm not afraid of needles, so I imagine I probably could, but I've never tried it. Now, even before Ozempic came to town, men's Johnsons are growing. Medical experts say that it's jaw-dropping or jaw-shattering, the size change that's going on. The average size of what a guy is hauling around town has grown 24% over the last 30 years. Something powerful is happening to our bodies, one doctor said, and this has nothing to do with Ozempic. And as we've covered before, because we have covered this before, the overall bizarre penis growth, the average size going up every year, the fear is that if more and more of us dodes keep growing baby elephant trunks in our drawers, we won't be able to reproduce without killing or permanently disabling all of the women in the process. We'll have to learn to reproduce amongst ourselves.
Wouldn't that be something?
Well, you've drawn up how it's possible. You just share that with people. You've drawn it up. You've done the research.
Oh, and how to impregnate yourself?
No, we have to know how to reproduce amongst ourselves. Not with ourselves, but amongst ourselves. Men will have to.
It might be fun trying. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, right.
Okay, people are saying there's something called Ozempic butt.
What is Ozempic butt? Your butt gets bigger?
Your butt kind of gets nasty looking.
Yeah.
And other people are saying it causes ED.
Nasty looking? What do you mean? Like a lot of cellulite?
Like deflated, maybe?
Oh, like a trucker butt.
I've heard of hair loss.
And what did you say, Josh? ED?
ED, yeah.
Well, I'll be damned. It is. It seems to be the drug that does everything. Not all of it's great, but it does everything.
Sports on the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
I think I just murdered a squirrel getting into my damn pit box.
Yes, you did. Mike screamed. I didn't know what the hell he was screaming at. Now we're going to do it for that squirrel.
That's for you, Mr. Squirrel. Bad timing, little buddy.
Poor squirrel.
That's too bad.
Ain't that something?
Squishy. Very squishy.
I'm going to do it for the squirrel.
That's radio communication between NASCAR driver Ty Dillon and his crew. He accidentally ran over a poor sumbitch squirrel during the race at Michigan. Was that last weekend?
I believe so.
I swear, sometimes those squirrels and rabbits act suicidal, though.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
They do.
What are you
They
doing?
make it to safety and then decide, you know what, F it. And they turn around.
Why? Oh, it stresses me out so much in the morning to get the bunnies in my neighborhood run like crazy.
My dad had a Timberwolf commit suicide under the tires of his F-150 right in front of her two pups.
That is absolutely crazy.
Oh, he was sad.
That would be heartbreaking. How old were the pups?
It was just pups, just tiny
Just
little bastards.
Oh.
It was so friggin' wrong. He was going up to his old fishing shack, middle of nowheres, on this narrow trail in his stupid pickup.
Didn't he have a hot mama with him?
He had a foxy lady with him. And it was dusk, and they see, trotting down the trail, an adult Timberwolf mother with two pups. And my dad backed her right down to about 5 miles an hour. And he got as far left as he could. And he said, oh, look at this. A couple of Timberwolves. And they kind of ran along, rode alongside. And the mother kind of looked back at and they just kept trotting. And then all of a sudden, thump, thump. And my dad said, oh, Jesus Christ. The mother just cut right under his tires, and he ran her, and the puppies had to go away by themselves, and my dad had to call the DNR. And he was,
he called the DNR?
He was sitting, and then his foxy lady was looking at him like, well, what kind of cold-blooded sumbitch are you? And he said, it cut right in front of me.
Well, why would it do that? Come on.
Because you just said some of them are suicidal.
Yep.
She got tired of the kids?
She didn't want to be a mom
moment of
anymore.
weakness?
She said, nope.
You ever run over anything, Cubby?
I haven't personally. I've been in a vehicle that ran over a cat, and that was very emotional.
Oh!
That's hard.
I'm lucky I never have.
I had a possum once, or an opossum, whatever it is.
It had it coming.
And it was me and my buddy. We were driving around, and we're smoking some weed, whatever, doing our thing. And
That's what my dad and his woman were doing, too.
No, they weren't.
A little bit of marijuana.
They were doing their thing.
I forgot in the moment that possum, they like play dead. They don't move. They'll just freeze.
Yeah.
And so
play possum.
And I was always told, if there's an animal on the road, don't swerve out of the way.
Right.
Just if you gotta hit it, you gotta hit it.
Yeah, you don't want to cause a car accident.
Yeah, and so I definitely could have stopped or slowed down. I just thought it'll move. It did not move. I hit it just like straight in the middle of my bumper, and it just killed the thing.
How's he doing? Oh, he
immediately killed it. Yeah, I pulled over afterwards, and the person I was driving with looked over at me because they knew how much I loved animals and how emotional I was when it came to animals. And I just started laughing because I had no other emotion. I was just like, what? I'm like, what was that? What just happened?
Unlike fake animal lovers like you, Ashley, I actually practice loving animals. I rescued a turtle in Egan the other day from the middle of the road.
Josh likes turtles.
I do. I like turtles.
Since I was in Egan, I actually thought about picking up that turtle and bringing it to Josh. So, dude has a friend, your son's turtle.
Oh, Josh, you would have been. How mad would you have been if Dana brought you over a second turtle?
He's already trying to pawn off the turtle he has.
Well, Dana texted me about that, and my son and his friends did find a turtle in our front yard on the same day.
That's
and they
nuts.
did ask if they could put it in the same tank as dude.
You said no?
I said no.
You said kill it?
I didn't think dude would appreciate that.
You don't want outside germs getting on your inside turtle. He's better than them.
That's what my grandma always said.
Cabinet maker Jesus says running over a turtle is the worst because of that crunch.
Oh, I
it's pretty
can't
gross.
imagine that.
A friend of mine ran over a dog once. It's a terrible story.
Oh, I saw somebody, or I didn't see it happen, but I saw the aftermath of some poor old man hitting a dog. And gosh, I've never seen someone feel that bad in my life.
Well, I have the one friend who ran over his own dog. But that was the same situation where they were driving off the property and the dog just kind of cut in front of them. But I have another, I won't tell this one on air because it's too depressing, but this other friend of mine ran. I'll tell you off air, Ashley.
Yeah, sure, why not?
Because you care.
Crazy Catman Jesus has hit 4 deer 3 times it wrecked his vehicles.
Yeah.
You are unlucky.
Must live out state somewhere.
Oh, here's a
just
listener.
Bad luck.
Here's a listener who ran over his own dog. Can you tell us the story? We got to get to this real quick. Last night, the Florida Panthers, last night, the Florida Panthers just blasted Ed Mental in Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Final. There's lots to talk about later on that. Twins start a series tonight against the Texas Rangers, and we'll get into the details on that when Glen Perkins and Randy Shaver join us at 7:30. Josh's News is coming up next.
93X
Half-assed morning show.
Hey, podcast pals. Today's episode is brought to you by my friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. Take it from me as a newly married guy with a very opinionated dog. Comfort is kind of important right now. That's why I'm a Smart Club member of Standard Heating. I get to schedule service when it actually works for me, pay how I want, and choose what fits our home best. Pick the HVAC company that treats you like family, not just another name on the list. That's Standard. Check out standardheating.com and tell them Dana sent you.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. You chose to hit play on this podcast today. Smart choice. Progressive loves to help people make smart choices. That's why they offer a tool called Auto Quote Explorer that allows you to compare your Progressive car insurance quote with rates from other companies. So you save time on the research and can enjoy savings when you choose the best rate for you. Give it a try after this episode at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
Former U.S. Navy SEAL Sean Ryan captures real stories about sacrifice and strength.
We go into this hooch searching for Christ knows what.
Regardless if anybody else does it, will you do it?
There's a lot of things that are hurtful and disturbing.
Can't get anybody to talk about it.
Uncovering truth with the heroes who live to tell it.
There's a saying, there's no atheist in a foxhole.
That was the hardest part for you coming home.
What?
How'd you get through it?
I worked hard.
The Sean Ryan Show.
You ready?
Let's do it.
All right, let's go.
Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
You gotta be kidding me. Who greenlit this garbage?
The 93X Half-assed morning show.
I started having severe abdominal and back pain. I would go to appointment after appointment and they were like, we don't know what's going on.
When Alabama police started closing in on a 36-year-old chiropractor suspected of poisoning his estranged wife with lead, he pulled a desperate move. He poisoned himself, hoping to throw them off. Brian Mann now faces attempted murder charges after investigators said he gave his wife pills he told her would strengthen her immune system.
Pills are good.
But he laced those pills with lead from a construction project.
He laid them on my bedside table every single night and reminded me to take them before bed.
Yes, swallow the healthy benefits of these pills.
Sleep!
At the time, the couple was in the midst of a divorce. She ended up hospitalized for nearly 2 months. Authorities began investigating when doctors couldn't explain why she'd become unresponsive. Eventually, police concluded Mann had intentionally caused her to unwittingly ingest particles of lead.
I was throwing up and I couldn't eat any solid food whatsoever.
As the investigation progressed, a nurse came forward with a strange encounter she had with Mann. She said Mann told her he'd performed an x-ray on himself and spotted a mysterious substance in his gut, which he believed was lead. But when she suggested a follow-up scan to determine how recent the poisoning might be, concerned for his health, Mann reportedly got visibly nervous and said he wanted to leave. But the scan went ahead anyway, and the nurse later found a substance in his colon which didn't appear to have been there for very long. Her conclusion, Mann had likely ingested lead on purpose to make it seem like he was also a victim.
Oh, that's why he went ahead with that.
Not long after, a tip came in. Someone told police they'd worked on a construction project at Mann's clinic, specifically installing lead in the walls of his x-ray room, and Mann had kept the leftover lead. That tip helped seal the case, and he was officially charged with attempted murder. Prosecutors allege Mann's motive was financial. Court filings reveal he held 5 insurance policies on his wife, totaling $1.3 million in death benefits. Additionally, he applied for 2 more policies worth $1.5 million, though those applications were denied. He tried to cash in.
He wanted to kill her dead, huh?
Make a couple of bucks along the way.
Boy, audio can be deceiving, but she sounded like a real peach.
Oh, yeah. I would, as they say in the business.
You know what I'm saying?
A 34-year-old Florida man with the last name of Charitable was anything but. 34-year-old Stefano Charitable took to Facebook Marketplace with a post promising prime real estate, some rental real estate, but he didn't actually own it to rent it out. Believing the listing was legitimate, one hopeful house hunter took the bait, signing a lease and sending Charitable $2,700. When the victim tried to move in, building management told him the unit wasn't Charitable's to rent, and the man with the ironic last name had been misleading others the same way. The victim told police Charitable promised to return the money and even agreed to meet. But like a wedding invitation to Dana's an invitation to Dana's wedding that our boss was never sent, Charitable never arrived. Authorities eventually caught up with the not-so-charitable Thursday and charged him with an organized crime to defraud and grand theft.
That's pretty crooked right there. Pretty crooked.
What was supposed to be a senior prank at a California high school ended up causing tens of thousands of dollars in damage.
They ruined this
Yes,
school.
they did. You can see this on 93x.com. Some students may now face serious consequences. Around 40 current and former students at Malibu High School are on investigation after an overnight stunt which included supergluing shut classroom doors and pushing a golf cart down a flight of stairs. Unfortunately, senior vandalism has been happening at MHS for more than 15 years, said Superintendent Antonio Shelton. But let me be clear, this isn't some harmless rite of passage, it's a crime. And it comes with real consequences, he said.
I saw they operate over there in Malibu.
The group reportedly superglued locks on 20 classroom doors, leaving them unusable for a day.
That sounds fun. That sounds funny to me.
They also tore down exterior clocks, spray-painted obscene images and messages on school walls, and damaged school property, including tables and seats. And then there was the golf cart shoved down the staircase.
To destroy the campus is just like disrespectful and entitled and privileged. The benches are still broken, and I know those are all like donations like for the senior quad, so that's pretty bad.
Those responsible may soon be trading caps and gowns for court dates, as school officials are working with authorities to identify those responsible. The sheriff described the incident as a senior prank gone awry and confirmed they plan to pursue charges to the fullest extent of the law.
Well, I imagine they're a bunch of rich kids. They're never going to stop. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, maybe not.
There are no rules for kids in Malibu.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, their parents probably let them run wild. So good luck trying to put an end to this. I doubt it will have an effect.
Last month, the chapter of Germany's Paderborn Cathedral issued an apology after hosting a rather surreal performance, which involved semi-naked dancers and diaper-wrapped plucked chickens.
This is so strange. I could barely watch this video.
I didn't like it either. It made me uncomfortable. This is on 93x.com as well. A dance troupe called Body Talk took the cathedral sanctuary with an odd reimagining of a chicken dance. During the piece, two shirtless men and a woman in a tight sleeveless white top pulled raw, ready-to-cook chickens from a metal bowl positioned in front of the altar.
Yeah.
One performer cradled the chicken like a baby while singing a cappella versions of a 1984 song by an Austrian pop rock group called Opus. The song was called Live is Life, though the lyrics were changed to Meat is Meat. Meanwhile, the other two dancers bounced the chickens on their heads, knees, and chests before all three began spinning in wide circles and tossing the chickens into the air, all to an instrumental version of that same song. The performance was part of an event marking the opening of the 775 Westphalia exhibit, celebrating 1,250 years of the historic Westphalia region. According to Body Talk's website, the act was an excerpt from Westphalen's Story, a tongue-in-cheek nod to both the region and the musical West Side Story. When asked about the peculiar poultry choice, a spokesperson for the group explained the use of chickens was symbolic. There are many chickens in Westphalia, they said, implying that naturally chickens belonged in the cathedral. The cathedral chapter later said they sincerely regretted the performance and had not been informed about its specific content in advance.
So this is just real deep, artsy-fartsy stuff.
So weird, dude.
Interpretive dance, wacky, you know, the average folks can't understand even a little bit of it. But the reason it's a story is because they did it in a church.
Yeah, like the president of Germany was there. It was a big deal.
What the hell's the president of Germany doing there?
He's there celebrating the anniversary there at the cathedral. And, oh, wow, a performance. Here it comes. It almost seemed like a bit. Like it was a TikTok prank or something. Getting away with it. It's so odd. Sunday, June 1st, just before 7 a.m., a man wearing a cape and not much else made an unusual break-in at a Dollar General store in Ohio. It was a panty raid.
I guess you're gonna miss the panty raid.
Panty raid? You're talking about girls, right?
Yeah.
And you're talking about raiding their dressers for their underpants, right?
We're panty professionals.
The 35-year-old man was decked out in what appeared to be tighty-whities or perhaps pilfered panties, and absolutely nothing else, save for his superhero-style cape.
I am the great Cornholio.
He did look like Cornholio. This is on 93x.com, too, is it not?
Yep.
Once inside, he headed straight for the women's clothing section, grabbed several packages of bras and panties.
Kangaroo panties.
When police arrived, they discovered a trail of lingerie leading away from the store as the man fled on foot, sans pants and subtlety. They also found a heaping helping of hemoglobin as he left a bloody path of platelets trailing out the store from injuring himself while crashing through the glass. So far, no arrests have been made.
So he broke into the joint when nobody was there?
Yeah, just to steal panties. I didn't know you could buy those at like a dollar store.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't been to the panty section.
No, I didn't know they had women's underwears.
Not the best quality, but they'll do the job.
When you in a pinch?
Yep.
This guy was smoking rock, right?
He kind of had that aura
Yeah.
about him, that he was on something.
All right.
And he's wearing underwear on his head.
SpongeBob had a panty raid.
Yeah, they had a panty raid episode.
I
never saw it. People text us about it, so I wanted to grab the clip.
Is that something that, now they don't acknowledge it?
That's what I'd heard. That
yes.
You can't watch it in reruns or find it. It's on YouTube.
Yeah, I didn't know SpongeBob had it in him.
Yeah.
SpongeBob, very funny program. But yeah, I wasn't expecting the panty raid whatsoever.
He used to be a little more wild.
Police in Cadillac, Michigan have identified a shadowy fashion fugitive with a flair for the dramatic, wearing an outfit that merged yeehaw with yard sale. The odd encounter with the strangely dressed man happened 3:40 p.m. Wednesday. A group of kids crossed paths with the mysteriously mismatched man, described as a teen with a deep voice. Video shows him wearing attire that was quite unique: a red shirt, gray sweatpants, a cowboy hat, and blue Crocs. After a brief conversation, he pulled out what was believed to be a handgun, spun it around his finger like he was in a spaghetti western, and pointed it at the juveniles before the rootin'-tootin' Cadillac, Michigan teen took off. The Cadillac cowboy in rubber shoes with holes in them has been identified as a local teenager, and police confirmed there is no threat to the public. Also, a video you can see on 93x.com.
Terrible outfit.
Kind of looks like when a little kid is allowed to dress himself.
Yep.
That's kind of what happened there. I mentioned spaghetti westerns in that story. A new study reveals spaghetti is America's favorite pasta, leading the country with 26% of the overall vote and winning 20 states. Penny pasta was second with 25% of the vote and was preferred in 17 states, including Minnesota and Wisconsin. The other bordering states, North Dakota and Iowa, fell in with most of the nation with their preference for spaghetti. South Dakota, Alaska, and Montana are the only states to choose rotini, a swirly long pasta, as their top choice.
More of a cavatappi kind of girl.
Oh, you fancy.
It's like corkscrew.
Oh, those big fat ones?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like corkscrew ones.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
those are delicious.
In just a few weeks, lane filtering and lane splitting will officially be legal in Minnesota, a major shift for motorcycle riders across the state. And for some drivers unaware of the new law, a real possibility for jump scares in their side mirrors. Lane filtering and splitting are set to go in effect July 1st. Lane splitting is allowed when traffic's moving in the same direction and there are at least two lanes. Riders can travel between the lanes, but only at speeds up to 25 miles an hour. Lane filtering, on the other hand, applies in stop traffic. Riders can move through vehicles, but only at speeds up to 15 miles per hour. According to an instructor at Rider Academy, which trains new motorcyclists, these practices could actually make riding safer. It can be a lot safer than multitasking individuals whose texting and looking down doesn't see a motorcyclist right in front of them. Unfortunately, they get rear-ended in slow-moving bumper-to-bumper traffic, he said. Another coach said their main concern now is raising awareness among drivers. I expect some surprise drivers, and that's what I'm trying to help prevent and make sure everyone at least knows to expect it, he said.
How many drivers do we have in Minnesota? A couple million, and that's going to take a while. But if everybody can just share the idea with somebody else and then just be nice, like we wouldn't want anyone else to not be, I think we'll get there.
The Minnesota Department of Public Safety has been preparing for this rollout since last summer. A spokesperson said the bulk of the public awareness campaign will ramp up closer to July 1st, partially due to budget timing. So far, they've shared messages at the Minnesota State Fair, social media, radio, Spotify, and even gas pump screens, squeezing life-saving PSAs between Nicki Minaj and 2-for-1 hot dog deals. Meanwhile, lawmakers at the Capitol are ironing out a few technical details, but a House spokesperson confirmed the law is still on track to take effect July 1st.
Yeah, we riders have been waiting on this for a while. I just hope that you automobile drivers who don't know the real meaning of freedom, I hope you can behave yourselves.
Yeah, that is my fear, right? Somebody not knowing the law and deciding, well, I'm just going to swerve over and get in this guy's way.
Yep.
That's what we riders are worried about.
Yeah, I'm sure you're right. Bill Burr is 57 today.
Love him.
Happy birthday to Joe at Beyond Remodeling, whose wife has already helped him celebrate sexually this morning.
Wow.
It's once a year sexual surprise. Live listener, podcaster, and commercial painter D. Vance Jesus texting a happy birthday to his smoking hot wife. Good luck to my good buddy Len, who just accepted
What are we doing now?
He was just accepted at NASA to become an astronaut. A good friend of mine named Len.
You can't do this 2 days in a row now.
Shout out to Slumber Cove in Lino Lakes. Thank you to Moonshine and Banjos Jesus listening in Arkansas. Happy 35th to a texter who I'm sorry I don't have their name. Happy 41st to Adam.
Well, just make a name up. That's what you do.
Well, I never make up names. Ask my buddy Jen. She's listening. Congratulations to Joe the plumber, who just got his certification as a master plumber from But You Didn't Mean Not To, Jesus. Happy birthday to the smoking hot KARE turning 39 today from her below-average-looking husband, Coy. And a shout-out this morning for the Boxcar family headed to Tennessee from Minnesota Bearded Jesus. You know, yesterday with the whole Ken thing, if you were listening, I mentioned a friend of mine. He's in Mayo for some tests. His name's Ken. Everybody's busting my balls saying I made him up. He sent in pictures to all my coworkers here to say he's real.
He had to prove his existence, yes.
He texted me last night and said he got blown up yesterday, his phone, including his 75, 6-year-old mother, and they're starting a hashtag Ken is real. Yesterday.
Cute.
So Ken is real.
We've made him a household name.
He is. And that's 93X News.
And now a Minnesota Twins update. We're talking Twins with former All-Star closer, Glen Perkins. On 93X. Play ball!
This one to center field. Denzel Clark on the move back after he stepped towards home plate. He makes another catch!
Oh, my God!
Back-to-back weeks where he wins the electric play of the week, and he's already on the leaderboard for this week!
You go ahead and book it. I've heard the list. I've seen the list of the greatest catches you're ever going to see in your life. If you don't have room for this one on your list, we're watching two different sports.
I'll tell you what. That was a hell of a catch. We'll get to that in just a minute. First, Janel Klein is here.
Hello, hello.
Janel is here.
Hello, Janel.
Hello, Randy.
Randy Shaver, too. What up, fool?
What up?
Yeah.
Denzel Clark, I sent you that text last night.
That was incredible.
You did.
Wow.
Also, Twins Rangers, game 1 out of 3 tonight at Target Field. Twins color commentator Glen Perkins is on the line to talk all about it. Hello, Glenn.
Good morning, everybody. How are we doing today?
We're doing great. Before we talk about the Twins, did you see the catch last night?
I did see the catch last night. I saw it on some social media platform. I don't remember which one, but unreal. Absolutely unreal.
Randy had to text about it last night at 10 o'clock, which was rude.
Oh, you guys were sleeping. I just wanted to make sure.
On a different schedule than most.
It was presumptuous is what it was.
I just wanted to make sure you didn't miss it.
No, I was still awake. Randy sent out a text last night. Denzel Clark of the Athletics, who I had never heard of until last night.
Same.
You'd never heard of him before either, Glenn?
No, nope.
The Athletics aren't the most popular team in the... But did he pull off the greatest home run robbing catch in the history of Major League Baseball? Would you put that label on Clark's catch?
Yeah, who was it? Was it Milton Bradley with the Rangers that had a somewhat similar one, probably mid-2000s, maybe 2010-ish, somewhere around there, Very similar catch where, like, their waist got above the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
It's that they're remarkable catches. Like, the difficulty of those, of doing that, I mean, it's like once guys get by the warning track, anything can happen. And it's hard to find the wall. It's hard to find the ball at the same time, to time your jump, all of those things. The athleticism on that catch is just unfathomable.
It was pretty fun to watch. Up on our website, Ashley, Denzel Clark's catch?
Yep.
Appreciate that.
If you can get Torrey Hunter to respond to something like a catch like that, you know you've made your mark, because Torrey's made those things in his sleep. But last night on social media, he put out, oh my gosh, I don't think I've ever seen a catch like that. So
he climbs up on the wall, reaches over,
backhands the ball,
backhands the baseball, and keeps his entire body from going right over the top of the fence. And I watched some further videos on this Denzel Clark, and he's made some terrific grabs already this season. There was one he made against the Baltimore Orioles where he collided with the wall at top speed. There was another one against Toronto a handful of games ago. So he's kind of taken this Torrey Hunter type, Byron Buxton type personality on, and more and more people are starting to figure out who he is. What I've enjoyed most is the reaction of the pitchers.
Yeah.
And the look of just disbelief and of course, gratitude when he makes these his pitchers look out towards center field as if they don't believe what they've seen.
And they go, well, I guess I'm buying dinner tonight.
Yeah.
So, Glenn,
that was my first reaction was, I would have loved to have that guy playing behind me. And it's disbelief and it's gratitude. I think those are two perfect words to describe probably what was going through that pitcher's head.
Woo-wee.
So, Glenn, what's the ruling, Major League ruling? Let's say Denzel Clark falls over the top of the wall and disappears, and we don't know if he caught it or what's the ruling there? Is that a home run? Even if he caught it as he falls over the wall?
I think even if you fall out of the field of play, it's an out. But how do you rule that when you disappear?
Can it be an out if it's a home run over the wall, though?
Well, I guess
I would tend to agree.
I just say that because he was pretty kind of close to going over the top of the wall.
Yeah, I feel like it's with how high the walls are, that never happens. But guys are getting more athletic, and it's probably getting increasingly more likely. My gut still tells me that that's an out. And I know that if you fall into the stands or the dugout in foul territory and you make the catch, it's an out.
Yeah, I'm with Glenn. I don't know if we'll be able to look this up, but I believe it's an out even if you fall over the center field fence with the ball in your glove.
I don't know why it would be different just because you're in fair territory.
Yeah.
I guess my question, though, too, is if he falls over the wall and you don't see him, how do you know he made the
I don't
catch?
know. It's the umpire's ruling then.
And there's probably a bunch of home run balls back there from BP. Did you grab the right one?
I don't know. Just thought about that. I was watching the play.
I think it's an out. Here's a listener, Johnny Bravo Jesus, who's texted in to say he's going to the game tonight. It's Prince night and it's Dollar Dog night.
Oh, my.
I didn't know that we still did Dollar Dog night, but I love that.
Yeah.
It always throws me off because it's Tuesdays. Back in the day, it was always Wednesdays.
Yes,
it was Wednesday day games.
Yes. The businessman special back in the day. They had the Wednesday day games is when they offered up. Then they started making Wednesdays night game. Josh, imagine like some guy sitting next to you on Prince night and Dollar Dog night. He's got a mouthful of wiener trying to sing When Doves Cry. You know what I mean? You might want to shift over a seat until the song is over because he'll be spitting beaks and feet all over the section. But that sounds like fun. Glen Perkins, we're feeling bad for Pablo Lopez over here. Zebby Matthews, too. Pitchers are starting to drop off due to injury. How do they make this work from here on out?
It's going to get a little tricky. I think that they had depth coming into the season, and I feel like every year depth gets tested, and you almost don't have enough. And so losing Pablo, he wasn't pitching as deep into games this year as he did the last couple of years, but he was probably pitching better. It was just taking more pitches. It's a huge loss. It is, and there's no really way to sugarcoat it. I think Simeon Woods Richardson's going to come up tonight. I'm not sure if they've announced that yet, but I think he's going to pitch tonight. And so to be able to go back down to the minor leagues, get a guy that has some experience, that's thrown some pretty good games for the Twins is a nice luxury.
Sure.
But there is no replacing Pablo Lopez. I think what he does on the mound, what he does in the clubhouse, I mean, he'll still be able to do that. He's still around in the dugout. He's still around in the clubhouse. That helps to an extent, but what he provides on the mound is a huge loss. And they're going to have guys step up. I mean, it's an opportunity for David Festa. It's another opportunity for Sim to try to establish themselves in the big leagues. But massive loss. They're going to have to score runs. I think the offense is going to have to get going. They're thin on the pitching side.
Yeah, it's a damn shame. It's a damn shame. By the way, college football official Jesus has texted into the program, and he's not just being cute. He really refereed college football and also umpired college baseball. If we'll take his word for it, he says, back to the Denzel Clark catch, where he makes the amazing catch, a home run, robbing catch above the fence. Randy wanted to know if he fell over the fence, would it still be an out? College football official Jesus says, out. Any runners on base get to advance due to the ball going out of play, but otherwise, it's an out.
So that I was wrestling with that because Matt Wallner, I think it would have been last year in Tampa, fell into the stands after making a catch. And there was he ended up climbing back over the sidewall, and they moved the runners up. So that was where I was kind of hung up, trying to remember exactly what happened on that play. So I guess that checks out, but an out's an out.
Yeah, an out's an out. So back to Pablo Lopez's injury. And also Carlos Correa has been spotty lately with a back problem. Of course, Pablo's was a shoulder issue. Joe Ryan is a member of the Minnesota Twins who is blaming the A's ballpark for these injuries. I think what Joe is saying is the mound was so hard at the A's little minor league ballpark that a guy like Pablo or any other pitcher cannot dig their cleats in and use their leg strength. Joe Ryan was saying you basically have to use all upper body to get any velocity on your pitches in that ballpark. He's blaming their ballpark. Carlos Correa, I think, full-on blamed the batter's box for being too hard at that ballpark, and that's what tightened up his back. Have you heard these comments, Glenn, and what do you think about it?
I did read that article, and then on Friday I talked to Joe Ryan about it on Friday because I thought it was interesting what he had said. And the first thing he said is that got blown a little out of proportion.
Okay,
and that was a part of it. He thought that might have been a part of it. I think the bigger probably factor for Pablo, at least, was pitching in Tampa when it was 90-some degrees at the hottest time of the day. He sweats a ton. And so I think he probably got somewhat dehydrated. Then they got on that flight. And I think that probably contributes as well to the dehydration. I don't think he was able to recover enough fluids over the next 5 days before he went out to pitch in Sacramento, where it was hot again.
You guys know I like to stay hydrated.
I think that...
A couple of Coors Lights, whatever you got.
You have the biggest water bottle I've ever seen.
Yeah. Go ahead, Glenn.
Yeah, I think that it might have had as much to do with the dehydration from his previous start, and then maybe that was a factor. And I think that's kind of what Joe was trying to say to me. Like, he wasn't entirely blaming Oakland. I think it was kind of the culmination of all of it.
Fair enough.
But I do know that there are times where you do feel like you have to throw more with your arm, and I actually tore a similar muscle early in my career down in Texas when it was hot and humid out. So I think it's a lot of things combining for Pablo Carlos. Who knows? If he was slipping in the batter's box, I know he wears plastic cleats. He doesn't wear metal cleats.
Right.
And they don't grip in dirt. So I think you need soft dirt for plastic cleats to work. And so I think it was smart on Carlos's case for him to come out of that game or to not play for a couple of games. And he kind of echoed that. He said, essentially, I was going to sacrifice 8 at-bats now to not be hurt for the next 4 weeks, 6 weeks, whatever it might be. Kind of protected him from himself, which is like almost impossible for a professional athlete to do.
Got it. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Hey, a question for Glen Perkins and Randy Shaver from a listener who texted in. They want to know if the ball bounces off your skull and over the fence, is that a home run?
Ask Jose
Canseco home
run.
I'll ask him.
Oh, I forgot.
Sure you will, Janelle.
Janelle used to date Jose Canseco.
Yes.
They still text.
You still.
Do.
Oh no! Is there still something good? All right, we'll get an answer.
She still gives him the up every once and again.
It's happened to more guys than just Canseco. But
Yeah, we don't care about those other guys.
The most.
We don't care about those other guys.
He's not getting off the hook.
No.
Yeah, that's absolutely a home run.
Jose, he's the one we're going to pick on to the end of time. Okay. A website called Stacker. I thought maybe you guys would get dialed into this. A website called Stacker compiled key moments from Major League Baseball history over the past 100 years. And what they did, they used sources like official record books and the Baseball Hall of Fame, and they've listed the biggest story from Major League Baseball the year you were born. They went all the way back to like 1919, all the way up to the modern day, and listed the marquee moment from Major League Baseball for every friggin' year. And you can relate it to the year you were born. Randy Shaver, what year were you born?
1958.
In 1958. Is there any chance you could guess what was that? No, you couldn't guess. In 1958, the big moment for Major League Baseball were the New York teams moving west. My God, you're old. The year you were born was when the Dodgers and Giants left New York for California.
Wow.
How about that? I'm 1971. And the marquee moment from the 71 baseball season was the Pittsburgh Pirates fielded what is believed to be the first lineup with all minority players, featuring stars like Roberto Clemente, Willie Stargell, and we just talked about him a few days ago.
Manny Sanguillen.
Doc Ellis, Manny Sanguillen. Cubby, 1975, right?
Correct.
Frank Robinson was announced as the player manager, like Reg Dunlop was the player coach for the Charleston Chiefs. What'd you say, Randy?
I think for the Reds, right?
Cleveland.
Okay.
1975, Frank Robinson was announced as the player manager for the Cleveland Indians, becoming the first African-American to hold a head managerial role in Major League Baseball, and he hit a home run on opening day as the player manager.
Wow.
Who's next? Glen Perkins, you and Dana are around the same age, aren't you?
1983.
I'm 85.
Okay, perfect. 1983. Oh, God. I can watch this still to this day. I can watch the video over and over and over again. The marquee moment from the 1983 baseball season, Glen Perkins, the year you were born, was when George Brett went berserk.
Berserk. Yep.
When George
the Pine Tar incident.
The Pine Tar incident. And if you're a young person and don't know this, just look it up on YouTube. George Brett, playing for the Kansas City Royals, hits, I think, a home run that catapulted the Royals into the lead at Yankee Stadium. Yankees manager, don't tell me, Billy Martin comes out and has the umpires measure how much pine tar he's got on his bat. Yep. Just the most chicken-esque rule at the time that you could possibly nitpick a player about, pine tar. And the umpires ruled he had too much on his bat and called him out Brett's already sitting in the dugout with his teammates. They've celebrated the home run. They call him out, and George Brett comes out of the dugout like he was shot out of a cannon.
It's unbelievable.
And he's raging. Are you watching it, Janelle?
Yeah.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
I've had that umpire for years afterwards. Anytime he closed his eyes, he just saw that image of Brett coming out because he was coming for blood.
With the wad of chew and his just spraying out of his... Glen Perkins.
He runs like a 4.240 out there. I'm almost positive that was Tim McClellan, who ended up being one of the better, longer tenured umps ever. I'm almost positive it was Tim McClellan behind home plate.
And he was around when you were playing then.
Yeah, he was around forever.
Okay, so I'll get through this real quick, and then I want to ask Glenn a question about umpires. Look that up if you don't know the story. 85.
Yeah.
The year that Dana was born.
But it wasn't like his call, right? I mean, he had to follow the rule. It wasn't like
the umpire?
Yeah.
I guess, yeah, he had to follow the rule book. He probably said, Jesus Christ, I really got to do this, you know what I mean, before he called George Brett out.
Well, and Billy Martin waited till the home run was over before he came out to challenge it. That's the deal.
85, when Dana was born, Pete Rose broke Ty Cobb's all-time hit record.
Oh, yeah.
That's cool, one.
Who else? Who am I missing? The younger people. What about, let's go with Ashley, because you're young.
97.
97, the first year of interleague play.
Cool.
So this was really fun for me. I mean, if you just want to know a few of the others, of course, 87, the Twins won their first World Series.
Yeah.
Speaking of Jose Canseco, in 1988, the biggest story in Major League Baseball was the Bash brothers, Jose and Mark McGwire, hitting all those home runs for the Athletics. 1989, the debut of Ken Griffey Jr. What else is in here? So there you go, 97, Ashley, interleague play begins. I was going to, Glenn, when you brought up Tim McClellan, the umpire who was way back in 83, and he also was working when you were playing, who was the umpire that you had the best relationship with, and who did you have the worst relationship with? Because pitchers and umpires get to know each other very well, I imagine.
Yeah, so there's an umpire, he's umping in the big leagues now, that I had at every level throughout the minor leagues and in the big leagues. And in the minor leagues, we would see him out at night, and I spent a lot of time with him. Al Porter is his name. Got up to the big leagues later in my career. He's one of the best umps in the game now. And I always loved Al. There was a couple of umps that I didn't see eye to eye with. Manny Fernandez, I think, is the one that ejected me, the one ejection I had.
What did you say to the guy? What did you say?
I was complaining about a ball strike call at some point that happened. It was at home against Cleveland, and I was angry about a call that he made. I don't even remember if he missed it or not. And after the game ended, I was walking up to Kurt Suzuki to meet him, and I started screaming at Manny, and then he threw me out.
Yeah.
After the game, so it wasn't even a real.
After the game,
it didn't matter, other than I had to pay a fine.
So he must have liked you a little bit if he didn't throw you out till after the game.
I don't think I really said anything till after the game. I think I waited till the game was over and then I let him have it.
Oh, I see.
Decided he was going to toss me out then. So.
Are you working tonight, Glenn?
I am working tonight. We're going to have a three-man booth with Corey, obviously, on play-by-play, and then Justin Morneau is going to join, too.
Oh, excellent. All right.
Yeah, so we'll have three of us all series.
We always appreciate your time. Twins Rangers tonight, the first of three. Glenn, go out and have some fun at the ballpark tonight, and get yourself a dollar dog, for Christ's sake, 4 or 5 of them.
I'm gonna try to get me a free hot dog.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you're Glen Perkins. You can get a free hot dog.
Yeah.
I can lend you a buck, Glenn, if you need it.
Or Dana can Venmo you $1. And thank you, Glenn.
All right. You guys have a good week.
You too. Our Tuesday Conversations with Glen Perkins brought to you by Xfinity. Stream sports from the best seat in the house with Xfinity. We didn't do Janelle the year she was born. That was 98. In 1998. Janelle, the year you were born.
Yes, thank you. God bless you.
That was...
Crazy.
Everyone was texted in saying, what about Janelle's birthday? Okay, yeah, 98.
She's mysterious.
Randy Shaver, what was the big baseball story in 98? You were there for part of it. You took your kids to see something.
Yeah, come on.
McGuire and Sosa.
McGuire and Sosa's chase for 61 home runs in the summer of 98.
Yeah, we saw McGuire hit 2.
God, that was fun. That was a fun summer.
Yeah.
Obviously, I was drawn to it like every other baseball fan, but I so greatly disliked both of those players, going into it.
Oh, gosh.
I guess looking back, I don't really care for the guys, but when you were 13, they were superheroes.
13. You go, Janelle.
13.
So my question, though, about the catch by Clark is if he falls over the wall, how do you know if he really caught it or not?
I don't know.
Don't they have cameras everywhere?
I don't know about that.
No, I get it, Randy. I don't know.
So that was really my question. If he falls over the wall and he disappears from view, what's the ruling on the play?
Maybe there's a janitor on the other side of the wall who's wringing out a mop. You ask him,
Honor system, maybe?
Yeah, the honor system. Did you catch the sumbitch or not?
I mean, there are some ballparks where the walls you can't fall over the wall. It's connected to the stands. But there are parks like the Angels ballpark last night where you can actually fall over the wall. And Glenn's right. There are very few players who have any chance of being athletic enough to be able to go over the wall. But Clark is definitely one of them. I mean, he scaled that wall pretty easily last night.
He looked like old Spider Nuts.
Spider-Man is what they call him. That's his nickname.
Oh, is that his nickname? Well,
yeah,
he can't have that. There's already a Spider-Man. There's been multiple Spider-Men. I thought John Sally was Spider-Man.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
He can't be Spider-Man. Make a phone call today, Randy Shaver. The guy can't be Spider-Man. All right. Last night, the Florida Panthers totally curb-stomped Ed Mental in Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Final. 6-1, the Panthers dominated the game. And I got to say, I'm gonna Josh knows I'm not afraid to what?
Go there.
I'm not afraid to go there. The Oilers made fools of themselves late in the game. Am I the only swinging D who saw the end of this hockey game?
Just read about
You probably are, yes.
I'm a guy who loves violence in hockey. I miss the old style of play from the 80s and 90s where you could just molest and further a player and the referees would just swallow their whistles. I love cheap shots. I love fights. I love sending the opposite club a message late in the game when you're losing. But the Oilers just came off like clowns while doing all of those things. Their shots at the Panthers look more like little temper tantrums than professional hockey players looking to soften up their opponent for the next game. It's difficult to explain, but the Oilers just came off so childish out there. If you watch the end of the game, there were players for the Panthers openly laughing in the faces of Oiler players while the Oiler players were swinging and slashing at them. They did it in a way that seemed so bitchy. If you didn't see it, then you have no idea what I'm talking about. If you did,
I saw a little bit of it this morning.
It was a weird vibe. They came off like clowns.
A lot of frustration, I think, by Edmonton for sure. But you're right. Florida wasn't going to go down to that level. They were just it's that old adage, look at the scoreboard. I mean, that's really what it boiled down to. Florida was like, look at the scoreboard, man. You're down. You lost the game. You're down 6-1. So.
This is funny. Social anxiety Jesus texted in about the George Brett incident. He said, I'm watching that Pine Tar video. Who was that chicken manager for the Yankees? What a douche. It was Billy Martin. Billy Martin did not care about anyone's opinion of him.
No. And like I said, Billy Martin waited until after the home run he was in the dugout after the home run was hit. He didn't challenge him when he came to the plate.
So anyway, none of you saw the hockey game. So that means you didn't see Florida's fifth goal of the game. If you can look that up on the internet, their fifth goal of the game was one of the prettiest power play goals you will ever see. It was terrific. It was beautiful in every way. If you want to take some time, state of hockey type people that you are. What's really fun is that after the game, the Oilers players swore up and down that the Panthers didn't get under their skin or in their heads during last night's game. Sorry, boys. We were all, I was watching. Not going to let you get away with that one. Obviously, the Panthers got under your friggin'. And apparently the next game is Thursday.
Why is it Thursday?
I don't know.
That's so fun.
Why can't they play every other night?
I don't know.
God.
All right. TJ Oshie announced that he's retiring from playing in the National Hockey League. Now, I was not aware of this. He did not play this past season because of a back injury, but now he's made it official. TJ Oshie won the Cup with Washington a few years back. Of course, he spent some of his teenage years in War Road. Are you familiar with TJ, Janelle?
I am, yeah. From the War Road tie, and then he played at UND when I was up there.
There you go. Yeah, he was up in North Dakota.
Yep. And he had a really, I don't know if you guys followed when he won the Cup, but his dad had Alzheimer's or dementia.
I remember
that. It was really moving when he won the Cup and his dad had been his coach, and it was really cool.
You're right.
Yeah.
I had forgotten all about that.
Mm-hmm.
He seems like a cool guy.
Yeah.
Yep.
He had some great seasons. And specifically, the guy was untouchable. I'm not a big fan of the silly high school shootout that they included into the National Hockey League a few years ago. But when TJ Oshie was involved in a shootout, you could almost bet your life on it. Mm-hmm. And he got the nickname TJ Sochi for how many friggin' shootout goals he scored in the Olympics for Team USA. Great player. Made a great run. I mean, how many? He made it all. It's hard to believe he's all the way up to 38 years old now, Janel Klein.
Yeah.
You were covering him. You were born in 98. You were covering him when you were 7, 8 years old.
My grade school newsletter.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ended up 5th all-time in Capitals history. He ended up 5th all-time in power play goals behind Nicholas Backstrom, Mike Gartner, Peter Bondra, and, of course, Alex Ovechkin.
Yeah. Great player.
A dude attempted to drink 26 beers while running a marathon, but he didn't get it done.
God. Jeez.
But by damn, he tried. Tried to run a complete 26-mile marathon and somehow sucked down 26 Steve Weisers in the process. He goes by the name of Preston Lopez. At the end of the marathon, he was able to drink 14 of them.
Oh, God.
And he finished this marathon, Randy Shaver, 26.2 miles in 5 hours and 44 minutes.
Did he end up wetting his pants more than once?
Nobody complained a lot about bloating and foam.
Imagine just the sloshing.
Oh,
So
God.
was the plan one every mile, and he couldn't do it, so then he just had to shotgun him at the end?
It didn't look like he had much of a plan, Janelle. It just looked like he was sucking them down as fast as he could, and then, of course, he would be too bloated to drink anything for a brief period. And he was ducking into liquor stores along the way when he would run low. Anyway, the article that I read about this guy, I mean, it's easy to be a second guesser or whatever the term might be. It's easy to, you guys know where I'm going with that. There's a phrase I'm missing, but the article suggested, why didn't you get a beer helmet?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, sure.
And then the straw in your yap. He was just jogging with a beer in each hand and trying to,
Oh, that would be so difficult.
So I don't know if he really thought much about this beforehand.
No, there's no planning involved.
I take it he's not a serious runner then.
I don't know. He finished a marathon. He must have something going for him.
I guess.
He wasn't built like a marathon runner. He was kind of built like a beer drinker. But I got a little confused. Josh, maybe you can help me. This wasn't the same guy who ran a marathon because his wife told him he couldn't.
Well, they wrote it confusing in the article.
Confusing.
I don't think it's the same guy.
They compare this Preston Lopez, the guy who drank 14 beers during a 26-mile marathon. He wanted to complete 26. He didn't get there. They compared him to a guy, and this is a great story. I remember covering this when it happened. His wife was bothered and annoyed by her husband because he kept saying, I could run a marathon with zero prior experience. I could do that. So what? You just run or jog. And his wife was so pissed off, she said, well, go do it then. And he did, and he completed the marathon. He proved her wrong.
Wow.
And wasn't the story like she told him that day?
Yes.
He didn't know the night before. He had no idea he was going to be running a marathon.
Thank you for that, Josh, because that's important. Like, one day she walked up to her husband like he was in bed and said, okay, smart guy, you think you can run a marathon with no prior experience? There's one today. And he said, okay. And he went and friggin' did it. To spite his wife, he ran a marathon with zero training.
That's incredible.
How old is he?
I don't remember.
I don't
think he was too old of a character.
I guess age doesn't matter, really. That's just horrible that you would do that.
Yeah, he did it.
I saw a terrible waste of beer last night.
What happened?
In the Puerto Rico video of DeMarcus Cousins.
Oh,
yeah. That's up on 93x.com, too.
What in the world?
What's going on?
First of all, what's DeMarcus Cousins doing anyway? I mean, just retire and walk away, dude.
Yesterday, we talked about former NBA guard Evan Fournier mimicking masturbation towards fans at a pro basketball game in Greece.
Glorious.
And he is at an all-star level when it comes, to mimicking masturbation. If you don't know the video, it's on our website. It was glorious. It was. Today, the latest video.
It was a master class in masturbation.
It was.
It was awesome.
The latest video Randy Shaver's referring to, former NBA player DeMarcus Cousins got into a heated altercation with fans while playing in Puerto Rico at a Puerto Rican professional basketball game. He had to basically be tackled by security, or he was going to go into the stands and do a Steven Jackson. And they poured all the beer on him. I think
popcorn.
I think I saw some nachos.
What is the deal? Is he playing? He must be playing for some team in some league or something.
I recognized another pro out there in the video.
Oh, you did?
Yes, Danilo Gallinari, Italian player. He's played for the Nuggets. He's played.
Okay.
Danilo Gallinari. Do you recognize the guy?
Yeah, I recognize the name.
Yeah, I mean, so this must be some elite level of basketball of those guys. I mean, that Gallinari guy was very good when he was Cousins was very good when he was an NBA player.
So, and the other thing, is this a home game for Cousins or an away game? If it's a home
I don't know.
game, that ain't good.
No. He's walking up to, and by the way, it kind of like the Grease video with Fournier. It did not look like you are expected to control yourself as a fan at these basketball games. It looked as if it was anything goes.
Encouraged.
Yeah.
What's his nuts again? Cousins walks up to a fan who's sitting courtside, and he's doing the grab his nuts thing right in the guy's face.
Oh, he was right up in there.
Yeah, they're kind of trading like a slap fight for a while. Then he gets ejected from the game, and the fans are right in his face with the middle finger dumping. This is fun. These last two basketball videos that we've seen, Fournier and Cousins, this is, like I said yesterday, this is the way pro sports should be. I should be able to hang over the fence and put middle fingers right. I should be able to dump a beer on an athlete's head. The money we're paying to go to these ball games. Tell him, Josh.
Yeah, what he said.
Sorry, I know you were in the middle of drinking it.
Yeah, you caught me in the middle of a big swig there.
That video's on our website, then. Cousins going crazy?
Yep.
Trust us, you'll enjoy it. Randy Shaver. There are folks who believe any minute now, the Durantula, Kevin Durant.
No.
There's more than one basketball writer who said any minute now, the Durantula, Kevin Durant, will be traded to the...
No.
San Antonio Spurs.
Oh, okay.
Somebody else's problem.
Oh, this is a great text from Box Toss and Jesus. I want more lawless, out-of-control behavior at ball games. I'm tired of this stale, let's think of the children, approach to live professional sports or college sports. I want it like the 70s. Box Toss and Jesus just texted in, and this is great news for me. My new favorite team, the Philadelphia Eagles, I can behave that way at their ball game.
I think you're expected to.
It is allowed
there
at Philadelphia.
Go.
Okay, so thank you. there is at least one club that's still doing it right.
Yeah, Josh is right. It's not just allowed, it's expected.
It says on the back of the ticket, you have to do that as a fan.
Yeah, you get your ass kicked if you're not harassing somebody.
I had forgotten.
If the opposing team brings a baby, you throw something at the baby.
Right.
No, oh my gosh.
You got to throw something at the baby. Thank you for reminding me of that.
In order to qualify for season tickets to see the Eagles, you have to have misdemeanors on your record.
Yes.
It's like auditioning for The Voice or something.
Mm-hmm.
You have to show exactly how far you're willing to go.
Folks are speculating that Karen Rodgers might have gotten married this offseason. So
What?
everyone say a prayer for whoever that poor girl is.
Married to who?
I don't know.
Idiot, I'm
Some
sure.
lady.
Isn't there some code, Ashley, where you warn the next woman about what she's getting into if you dated that guy before?
Well, it depends if she sucks or not.
Nah, she sucks. She's on her own.
Yeah, it matters.
I think Danica Patrick tried.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah, she did.
Good point.
Yeah.
I bet it's miserable to share an elevator ride with Karen. Try living with that peckerhead.
Oh,
He seems like one of those guys that doesn't wear deodorant.
That would be the worst of my. That would be the least of my worries if the guy smells bad.
Oh, I bet he's just impossible to deal with.
Absolutely impossible on every level, on every subject.
Yep.
He'd tell you what you're doing wrong being pregnant, Ashley.
He totally
He'd be an expert at pregnancy.
You're doing it all wrong, he'd say. I'm Karen. I know how to be pregnant.
I'll teach you how to do this.
That's
not how you breastfeed.
Right.
I'll show you how. Give me that baby.
Where does he got married, Janelle?
I think he's talked about some girlfriend named Brittany, but I don't know if we know who she is.
Well, for a while
or care.
People were saying, wait, does he have an engagement ring on? There's been talk for a
Oh,
while.
I didn't see that. That tracks.
I have a friend who's a big Steelers fan, and I first kind of felt bad because I'm like, well, that's going to be a disaster and a nightmare. But then he dropped this one. He says, Nick, this will infuriate you. He goes, I'm just really disappointed. That's not the Steelers' way. I was like, okay, come on now.
Shut your yapper.
I don't feel bad for him anymore.
No, that's not the Steelers' way.
For Pete's sake. That's not how we do it here in the state of hockey. Same thing.
State of hockey. Somebody sent a picture earlier this morning. It was pretty funny. It was about, Rodgers signing his contract with the Steelers. And it was a picture of Steve Buscemi in a Steelers uniform.
That's awesome.
Oh, you've seen that too?
Yes,
that's good.
Underwhelmingly optimistic, Jesus said about Karen Rodgers. I thought he was married to his craft. Because he loves the journey. I'm fluent in sarcasm. That's another one that I...
Yeah.
Hate it.
Randy Shaver, so yesterday, before we go, we should cover this with you because you are a video game junkie.
Can be.
Can't stop. And you especially love that new college football game.
I love the baseball game and the college football game, yes.
Okay. College football, 20 and 25 ended up being the best-selling video game last year.
Yeah.
You couldn't wait for it. You got it.
Yeah.
You've mastered it.
Well, I haven't mastered it, but yeah, it's very enjoyable.
We were talking yesterday about this new setup where colleges are going to be able to pay their athletes directly. The athletes won't have to go through this NIL angle. Okay, we don't need to get into that again, but it kind of plays along with what we were talking about yesterday. On the new college football 26 game.
Okay.
What team do you use when you play the college football game?
I do two different things. I'll play the Gophers the first time I get it.
Okay, good.
And I'll actually play the game. And then when I get bored with that, then I'll take the worst team out there and try to build them to be a better, be a playoff team.
You're not just starting with Alabama.
No.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
like
good.
doing
I
that.
like your style more, Randy.
Yeah, it's boring. I'd rather find a team that's
Bowling Green University suddenly.
Take a team like that and then through the draft process and try to build. Yeah.
It says here in this new college football 26, the more you play a team, The more you use a team, they'll get a little money thrown into their pot.
No way.
Oh, wow.
No way.
What?
Yes.
So what does that mean? Does it mean like you're playing them as the team that you are?
When you turn on the video game and say, okay, I'm going to be the Golden Gophers, a little bit of money will go into their pot. It says here there's $5 million up for grabs. So if, say, let's say you use the Golden Gopher football team, or
how do they track that?
I don't know.
How would they even know that?
It's all online. Don't expect me to friggin' explain any of the details.
You have to be playing online, though, right?
I don't know.
That's the only way they could track that.
Okay. I don't know anything about video games. Please stop asking me these questions because I don't know the... There's $5 million up for grabs. So if you use the Golden Gopher football team, let's say 2% of the time, they'll end up getting $100,000.
PJ Fleck just hires a bunch of 12-year-olds to play as the Gophers 24 hours.
Sorry, not you. If everybody on planet Earth uses the Golden Gophers 2% of the time, they'll get $100,000.
That's not going to happen.
No, probably not.
Well, there's online people are trying to organize it so it happens for certain schools, right? They're going to say, hey, everybody play this particular school or this school to try and get some money.
Yeah.
Schools that could use it.
It's a modern-day fundraiser.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Crazy.
Yeah. That's where we're at. Janel Klein, last video game you played. Go.
I don't think I've really ever played a video game.
Miss Pac-Man.
Well, Miss Pac-Man, and I don't know when.
What about on your phone?
High school.
Have you ever played any, something on your phone?
Yeah, did you ever get Flappy Bird or?
I don't know what that is.
Scrabble? You seem like you'd play Scrabble on your
phone. What
phone.
about Snake? Did you ever play
Snake 2 on the Nokia phones? That was the best.
No.
So just Miss Pac-Man, when you were an 8th grader or something
exactly.
at the Faribault arcade.
Crazy.
Right.
For 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Hey, good for you. Good for you. By the way, I drove through your town Sunday.
Really?
I went on down to Blooming Prairie.
Oh, the Blossoms?
The Blossoms were there for a celebration of life for a family friend, but me and a pal drove through Faribault, and now I have syphilis.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
We didn't even stop.
I was going to say, did you exit or did you just go past it?
We caught it with the windows open.
Yeah.
Oh, God. All right, Randy Shaver, there you go. What the hell? You got nothing to do. Might as well play some college football video games today.
Oh, no, I got plenty to do. I'm busy.
You don't do
Randy, when I retire, can I come over and play video games with you?
Oh, Janelle, when are you going to retire?
Here's the thing. Randy would completely thump a beginner like Janelle in this college football game and then be a douche about it, I bet.
Run up the score and everything.
Janelle has no idea what the buttons are doing. Randy scores a touchdown, and he'd be a dick about it.
He's not even helping her. He's not giving any advice.
What does the
button mashers get lucky, though? So maybe Janelle would put up a good fight.
But Randy would be doing surprise onside kicks when he's already up 48 points.
He's a guy who's taking credit. Like the guy who takes too much credit for his fantasy football team. Hey, I started Marshall Faulk. Yeah, everyone else started Marshall Faulk, too. Oh, for Christ's sake. Okay, Randy, we'll talk to you later.
See ya.
We'll be back with more from Janel Klein when we come back on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
On 93X.
Hey, podcast pals. Today's episode is brought to you by my friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. Take it from me as a newly married guy with a very opinionated dog. Comfort is kind of important right now. That's why I'm a Smart Club member of Standard Heating. I get to schedule service when it actually works for me, pay how I want, and choose what fits our home best. Pick the HVAC company that treats you like family, not just another name on the list. That's Standard. Check out standardheating.com and tell them Dana sent you.
This episode brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game? Shifting a little money here, a little there, and hoping it all works out? Well, with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can get a better budgeter and potentially lower your insurance bill too. You tell Progressive what you want to pay for car insurance, and they'll help find you options within your budget. Try it today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
Former U.S. Navy SEAL Sean Ryan captures real stories about sacrifice and strength.
We go into this hooch searching for Christ knows what.
Regardless if anybody else does it, will you do it?
There's a lot of things that are hurtful and disturbing. Can't get anybody to talk about it.
Uncovering truth with the heroes who live to tell it.
There's a saying, there's no atheist in a foxhole.
That was the hardest part for you coming home.
What?
How'd you get through it?
I worked hard.
The Sean Ryan Show.
You ready?
Let's do it.
All right, let's go.
Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
KARE 11's Janel Klein.
This is the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Jungle Jane is up in the sumbitch. There's no question about that. Welcome back to the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show with our guest, Janel Klein. How are you, Janel?
I am good. How are you guys?
We're doing all right. Doing all damn right. And we appreciate you asking. You know what we were talking about a little earlier on this morning? We were talking about terrible, terrible things. Running over an animal out there on the roadway. You ever had to run anything smooth over?
I don't think I've actually hit something, but I have. It really grosses me out and makes me sad when you see. I was just on 94 like a few days ago. I've never seen so many dead deer in my life.
Oh, really?
Oh my gosh.
Where? What
going
town?
north. I was going up to Fergus Falls for a graduation, and bet I saw 10 dead deer.
You get some carcass up that
There's
way.
a lot.
It's heartbreaking when you can tell it wasn't like too long ago, too. Like it was the night before.
I live right off a busy street, and we see probably one or two every couple weeks, it seems like.
A lot of deer carcass. You'll see that just about anywhere as you go.
The worst ones to me are turtles.
Oh, we talked about Josh likes turtles.
I like turtles.
We did mention turtles earlier. You're a turtle lover?
I do like turtles.
So you don't like to see them squashed on the...
We had a coworker right at the stop sign, you know the stop sign right by work here? She kind of rolled through it and hit a squirrel, and she came into work, and I felt like a parent died or something. She was bawling. And she kept saying, I can't get the crunch out of my mind. I was in a car that ran over a cat, and I don't remember that. We just kind of launched over it a little bit, but I don't remember a crunch. But that would be tough to get over it.
It's a tough spot. It's a terrible situation when you run over an animal.
Oh, this person got... They accidentally got Bambi and Thumper in the same night. You hit a deer and a rabbit on the same...
Okay, that's crazy. You're not allowed to drive anymore.
Damn near all of us.
You're a danger. You're a danger to the animals. You're
Damn near all of us have run something over. You never had much for pets, Janelle? I can't remember.
I never had a pet growing up. No.
Oh my God.
No.
Not even like a hermit crab or anything like that?
Not one.
What in the hell did you people do in your free time? You never played video games. Your parents didn't swear. You didn't have a pet. You didn't play basketball in your own backyard.
Right. Yeah.
How far apart are you and your sister?
2 years between us.
Oh, so did you guys like grow up playing like house and teenagers?
Yeah, I mean, we just goofed around. I don't know. Like, I don't know what we did.
Was she older or younger?
She's 2 years older.
Okay.
I mean, we had a lot of like kids in the neighborhood that you just ran around with. I don't know what we
Well,
just
that's fun,
wasted
too.
time.
That's so much fun, yeah.
Too. What a horrible, horrible thing, to have a pet run over. Happened to us when we were kids.
A couple times, didn't it?
Well, I'm trying to think. Oh, yeah, it did happen a couple of times. Well, we grew up on a busy friggin' highway. It sucked. But we probably should have had more of those instances, really. But luckily, we had well-behaved dogs that stayed in the yard. But horrible thing to have your pet run over.
My dog was he was hit once, my family dog growing up, and it broke his leg. But I don't remember too much about it because I was relatively young, but I do remember the driver, they felt awful. And they did the right thing. I mean, he didn't have tags on him. They did the right thing. They brought him to the animal hospital, and I guess they were just like inconsolable.
Yeah, if you don't feel something from that, you must be some kind of a sick maniac.
But yeah, I guess I just remember my parents telling me that like there are some good people. Like the person that brought Harley to the vet, that was my dog's name. Like that's a good person.
Yeah. Yeah, now that I think about it, we had it happen a couple times when we were kids. We had it happen a couple times as adults, too, in that neighborhood.
Just once as a kid.
So
it's rough.
We all dig our pets a lot. We've established that on this program. We've talked up and down about our pets. But how many of us would go this friggin' far? It says here 1 in 7 people would dump their partner to add years to their pets' lives?
I would worry about that with my wife.
Same.
I'm going to be honest.
What would you worry about,
I
Jeff?
might have said something like this the other
That
day.
she'd at least think about it to save one of our dogs. If there was an ultimatum like, hey, here's the thing, we can give your dog an extra 5 years, but you got to ditch your husband, I think she'd need the night to think about it with how much she loves the dogs.
Dana, your wife wouldn't need the night.
No, she would not. She would not need 5 seconds.
You would be.
I'd be packing my bags. Just as the hypothetical question was presented, I would already have been packing up my things.
Gone like your name was Ron.
Because your dog or her dog basically walked her down the aisle.
Yes,
the dog was at your wedding. I hadn't seen that before, so that's when I knew she's serious about this.
That dog was around a lot longer than you've been, Dana.
Oh, I know.
So you know your place.
1 in 7, well, I guess specifically dog owners, 1 in 7 dog owners said they'd break up with their partner or spouse if it meant they could increase their dog's lifespan by 3 years.
Oh, okay. That's not a lot of time. You guys know, obviously, I absolutely love my dogs. One of them has been not feeling the best the last couple of months, a lot of issues. And when I've been very sad, I've said things like, I wish it was literally anybody else in the house except for this dog that was going through this. Like, if any of the rest of you were on the verge of death, it'd be fine. But it's my poor baby girl.
Why did it have to be your baby girl?
But, like, realistically, if I'm being honest with myself, if it was only 3 years versus a lifetime with my fiance, I'm probably not going to make that trade.
Well, don't you think you can, get back together with him in 3-4 years?
I guess that's a good. If he'd be down for that, if we could make some kind of pact, meet up again.
I wouldn't make that move. I wouldn't sacrifice my relationship to add 3 years to the life of my dog. But now that Josh and Dana spoke up, I wonder if my wife would feel the same. We've got a little dog now that she really, really loves, and the feeling is beyond effing mutual. that dog. My wife goes in the bathroom for 3 minutes. The dog sits outside the bathroom crying. Just can't even take 3 minutes without being. So that seems a little dramatic to me.
Yeah, it seems extreme. But I would kind of wonder, especially with a dog that we had to put down last year, if she, at that moment, they said, we can give him 3 more years, just dump this dork, maybe she'd think about it.
If it's in that moment, too.
For the record, Josh, she is the dork.
No, she's not.
If there's a dork in your relationship, it ain't you.
It's me. 100%.
What else would people give up to extend their pets' lives? Some folks would give up, I guess forever, their favorite meals.
Yeah, sure.
Nobody's taking chicken pot pies away from me for any friggin'
That's
reason.
your all-time favorite?
I would do that.
No one's taking microwavable chicken pot pies away from me, Janel Klein. A pet isn't going to do it. Nobody's going to do it.
My grandma used to bake them.
Yeah, you got to bake them.
I don't know how to bake anything.
Pretty good.
I don't know how to bake anything. Some folks would give up. Oh, Josh says it every morning when I walk in. He says, do not talk to me until I've had my first cup of coffee, he says. Don't say a word.
He wouldn't listen to me, so I had to compromise, and I drew a line in the middle of my coffee cup.
On your coffee cup.
And I said, once it's under here, you can talk to me.
Right.
But don't say a friggin' word if it's above this line.
There are people who would
That's what I said.
People who would, how do I say this? They would give up coffee forever to extend the lives of their pets. They'd give up their favorite TV shows. Here we go. You guys love television programming.
Easy.
Yeah, that's an easy one.
It is a sneezy one.
Sneezy one.
I could go without it. I mean, I prefer to watch the new episodes of like Family Guy or Always Sunny that is going to be coming out in July, by the way. But
I'm surprised to hear that you folks would give up television. Because
over a
living breathing
thing?
little baby?
Yeah, absolutely. All this stuff I wouldn't give up my wife, but outside of that.
Yeah,
you'd give up your favorite meal to add 3 years to your pet's life?
Oh, God, I'll eat anything. I was trying to think what my favorite meal is. I like everything.
Honestly, I'd probably do that for like 3 hours.
Okay.
Other than my fiance or my loved ones, there isn't much that I wouldn't do.
The TV show one would be a win-win for me. If I could extend our dog's life and my wife wouldn't have to hear me quote Shorzy anymore around the house, I'd be husband of the year.
I've been pissed off at you ever since the first time you quoted Shorzy. Well, I'm going to go the other way. No, I'm not giving up chicken pot pies. Microwavable only. No, I'm not giving up. Well, I don't drink caffeine anymore, but let's change that to beer. No, I wouldn't give up beer to add 3 years to my pet's life. And no, I would not get. My favorite television show is televised sports. I wouldn't give up televised sports for my dog.
Oh.
Are you kidding me? There's no friggin' way. No friggin' way. And I love my pets, don't get me wrong. And then things get a little dorky from here, talking about things that pet owners would change to extend their pet's life, like improving their diet and taking them on more walks and things like that.
Oh, like taking my dog. Yeah, sure. I guess it helps. Dog food's expensive, though.
True that.
Let's chill.
Preach, queen.
I used to have my dogs on because I came into my relationship with 2 dogs. My fiance has a dog and a cat, and I get whatever dog food you can get at the grocery store, whatever. It works. It worked for them, but now he's got them on some bougie stuff. He said because they're better than the dog food I was giving them.
Watch out for the bougie stuff. It makes for big piles of doggy diarrhea. Josh, you would give up Chipotle for the rest of your life just so this dog can continue to urinate on your carpeting for an extra 3 years?
That would suck, but yeah, I would. Sure.
What?
Yeah.
Stuff like that I can give up. And you kind of, for whatever reason, I can give that stuff up, whatever it is, relatively easy.
What did they say? It takes like 3 weeks to break a habit or
yeah,
something?
I could do that. For something like that, for sure. And I have extra motivation because I know how much they mean to my, kids and my wife. But even if it was just me, if they said, hey, we can give 3 more years, yeah, I'd give that up.
We can see what Dr. Andrea has to say about this, a veterinarian. We can ask her in a couple of days. She'll be on the show. So Janelle's never had a pet.
Right.
Have you ever wanted one? Is there anything that has...
I would, but I feel like it's really unfair when you are gone.
You travel all the time.
I'm never home.
I could see you owning a rabbit. Just like the cutest little innocent pet ever.
It's funny we're having this conversation because Janelle and I and my wife went to a charity function over the weekend. Dr. Andrea Johnston was throwing a charity event, and we attended. And Janelle and Andrea had never met. And I forgot this. You told Andrea that you had never had a pet, and she looked at you like you were from freaking Mars.
Did she really?
She did.
Isn't she the sweetest?
She's so cool.
Oh my gosh, you both in one room? My heart would explode.
She's really great.
Just the level of cuteness.
Yeah.
Just blow our eyebrows off. So I had forgotten that we just had this conversation. So if everything, and you're right, you travel all the time, it would be unfair. But if you could stop that, if you could be home, what would be your ideal pet? Dog, cat, frog? Josh likes turtles.
I like turtles.
I wouldn't want a turtle as a pet, but I like them. For sure a dog. I love dogs.
Big, small?
Not too big. Probably. I don't know. I don't know of like a specific breed in mind, but nothing too huge.
Are you one of those people that would be like absolutely no shedding?
No. I don't think so. Whoa.
Speaking of sneezy.
Oh my God, I've been hanging on to that for 4 hours.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. What about a little 5-pound sumbitch like I have that crawls around the house on its belly like a squirrel?
Your dog is really cute.
She's so little. You got to be so careful.
You've got the type of dog like rich people carrying purses to the Galleria and
you
stuff.
gotta be.
The Galleria.
You got to be careful around that peckerhead.
Here's something to think about when we go to break here from Old Crow 47 Jesus. The death of your pet or the death of a complete stranger that you'll never know.
All right, we've been talking about our ungrateful pets. As we're wrapping up the Tuesday edition of the 93X Half-Ass Morning Show with Janel Klein in studio. We've been talking about our ungrateful house pets. The original scenario that was going back and forth online was this. Would you break up with your significant other, gone forever, if it would add 3 years to your pets' lives? 1 in 7 people said they would. And that conversation branched into things like this. Would you give up your favorite food to add 3 years to your pet's life? Your favorite television show, your favorite drink, whatever. Say you're one of these coffee addicts. And then Old Crow 47 Jesus decided to go all dark movie plot on us and ask this question. The death of your pet or the death of a complete stranger that you'll never know? Oh, dude.
I think I know your answer, Ashley, but I've been waiting for this the entire commercial.
Ready,
break.
go.
Easy. This is easy. It took no thought whatsoever. It didn't buy to the
You're
complete
going to
stranger.
kill a human being, a complete stranger who might have family, friends.
I don't know them.
What if it's a baby?
What if it's a baby?
Maybe that baby was going to grow up to be like Hitler #2 or something.
So you might have just done the world a favor?
Exactly. You got to look at it that way.
Wow, you're a good person.
Yeah.
It was a baby. What television show? 651-989-9393. What television show? All right. You are a mean, evil person, Ashley.
I know.
Who loves your pets.
I just love their
Man,
little
you
faces.
love your pets.
Have you seen their little faces?
Yeah, they
They're
are
so cute.
Do they kind of look like this? Do they go?
Yeah.
Yeah, they make that. And my dog makes that face too.
But they're waiting at home for me right now.
I saw a movie with that scenario. I think what's her name from the Charlie's Angels and the Something About Mary.
Cameron Diaz.
Cameron Diaz. I saw a movie with a similar scenario. I think Cameron Diaz is married to some schmuck, and they hate their lives like most of us. And some evil guy comes to the door, and it was something about a box.
Yes, there's like a button in the box or something.
The movie was called maybe The Box, and don't get cute with that. And at any time, they could open up the box and press a button, and they'd make $1 billion, but yet it kills somebody, a complete stranger. And it gets darker and more horrible from there. If I remember right, I think I enjoyed it, but I like dark movies. I mean, maybe most folks would think it was garbage, but I thought it was kind of interesting.
It's funny that this comes up because that premise was referenced in a movie I watched yesterday on Netflix, the Zach Galifianakis Between Two Ferns movie.
Love it.
Where he interviews celebrities, and he's talking to Chrissy Teigen, who's a supermodel married to John Legend. And he's asking her, he goes, how did you become so famous? I don't get it. And she goes, well, it's real simple. One day, a man came to my door and presented me with a button and said, if you push this, all of your wildest dreams will come true, but a random person will die. She goes, so I hit the button, and that's how Mr. Rogers died.
Oh, jeez.
What? Dude, she's so great.
What's his name again? Zach Galifianakis?
Yeah.
He talked her into doing that bit, huh?
Yeah. And then she actually had sex with this character in the movie, too.
Yes, you're correct. MASH is the correct answer. Thank you for texting in. MASH was the correct answer. Okay, Ashley, and I think this scenario came up in the movie about the box with the button. So Ashley says she would kill a complete stranger. Well, you have to choose the death of your pet or the death of a complete stranger that you'll never know. You chose the death of a stranger.
Yep.
What if you are the stranger?
How would I be a stranger?
It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
but what if,
that makes no sense.
Doesn't really make
If
any
it like comes back around to me, they mean
Yeah,
maybe?
like the next person.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Was that I never saw the movie The Box, but wasn't that the gist? Like the next person that hits the button, it kills the previous person?
I can't remember.
Yeah, it's
Or
something like
maybe that's a different one.
I can't remember.
where it gets all tied up. Yeah.
It's funny the way the dude texted it in, too. Death of your pet or the death of a complete stranger that you'll never know? Choose, he said. Choose. Like he's some dark lord.
He's into the Saw movies.
Yeah, he's hovering over all. You choose. I'm not killing any complete stranger for my. I can't.
No.
I love my pets, but I can't.
I love that you didn't even have to think about it.
No. I know, that probably makes me an awful person, but...
How do you hang out with these people, Janelle, that have all these dark thoughts and dark things to say?
She's got her finger over a red button right now. Don't press it, Janelle.
Waiting.
I know you want that money.
Don't press it.
You want out of this life now. You want to move on to
Why
something.
am I doing this?
Don't do it. All right, what about this scenario? Now, a whole nother scenario has been brought up by a listener. Would you give up your pet? Okay, because the original scenario was, would you give up your significant other to add 3 years to your pet's lives? So that now we go the other way with this. Would you give up your pet to add 3 more years to the relationship that you're currently in?
Nah, he'll be all right.
You don't have to kill your pet. You just give it up. Maybe your uncle can take it, but you never see the pet again. Would you give up your pet to add 3 more years to the relationship that you're currently in?
Nah.
Let's start with the most whipped individual, Dana.
Yeah. Would I give up my pet to continue being with my wife?
3 more. It adds 3 more years to wherever the ending point is supposed to be for you and your wife.
I do love that dog, but I think
it's not your dog. It's her dog.
I think I'd stick with the relationship.
I knew it. We can't count on him, Josh.
You really let us down the way you're
let us
true
down
to
again.
your wife like that.
All right, Janelle, what else is going on around here? What are you going to do today?
God. I don't know, but it's supposed to be really, really nice.
Yes.
Oh, really? I was hoping it wasn't.
Yeah.
Because you want to sleep all day?
Yeah, it makes me feel bad when I look outside and it's all beautiful and I'm inside being
all
a
right, we
hermit.
can't trust Ashley anymore either. Don't ever feel bad about sleeping through a nice day.
No.
You'll get another nice day.
That's a good point.
You're starting to say that's something my parents would have said to me when I was a kid. You're wasting the day. It's so I don't care how nice it is. I need sleep.
You know what?
Making a baby, Ashley. You got
you need rest.
I did just check the weather, and it says it is supposed to be a nice day, but it says it's unhealthy for sensitive groups outside because the air quality. I'm pretty sure I'm in a sensitive group now, so.
Here's a listener who texted in to say, is there a way where I can give up both my pet and my current relationship?
I'm sure there's got to be something.
Got to be something you can do.
Yeah, there has to be. If you get creative enough, for sure.
It is going to be a beautiful day today, Janelle, so we hope that you do whatever you like with that.
Thank you. Maybe that Twins game for Dollar Dog Day or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Perfect.
Right?
Tonight should be very nice, and it's someone said it's Prince night also, so you can do the whole, I would die for you, raspberry parade kind of a thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Raspberry parade? That's not a real. You guys know what I mean.
Weird Al parody?
You know what I mean.
I've been to a raspberry parade.
Oh, is it Hopkins?
In Hopkins, yeah.
Right.
Raspberry Festival.
Thanks, Janelle.
Thanks, you guys.
Wrestling Dad Jesus texts the Luther Bloomington Kia text line with a shout-out to his son Noah. Hit his first dong Sunday for the Blooming Prairie 12U baseball team. That's pretty exciting.
Again with the Blooming Prairie.
Happy birthday to MRL Roofing Jesus, who's kicking cancer's ass, by the way. Happy birthday to Chaos Coordinator Jesus, turning 35. Happy 23rd to Trent from Dad Mustang Jesus. Have a great Tuesday, everyone. Just know we'd press that red button to keep you around. We would. We love you. Thank you so much for listening.
93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Hey, podcast pals. Today's episode is brought to you by my friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. Take it from me as a newly married guy with a very opinionated dog. Comfort is kind of important right now. That's why I'm a Smart Club member of Standard Heating. I get to schedule service when it actually works for me, pay how I want, and choose what fits our home best. Pick the HVAC company that treats you like family, not just another name on the list. That's Standard. Check out standardheating.com and tell them Dana sent you.